All right, well, let's get started with episode. What is this? 263? Why do we have so many? Episode 263 of the Current Gen podcast. My name is Tim, and I'm here with my buddy Kyle. Kyle, thanks for sticking with us. Dan is out this week, and we have replaced him with another Dan for this week because all Dans are the same. That's okay to say,
Pretty
right?
easy to come by.
Yeah.
Danelgangers.
Yeah,
Yep.
all Dan, all Dans are exactly the same. So, Dan
Steal it.
Phillips, thanks for being here with us, man. It's good to
Yeah,
chat with
thanks for
you.
being here.
It's an interesting week because they're really, and it's not an insult to any of the games that came out this week, but nothing came out this week. I'm just gonna say it. Like it was one of those weeks.
Calm before the
Now,
storm, if you will.
it is a calm before the storm. Now that doesn't mean there's literally nothing. It just means nothing that we're all excited about. We've just had back to back to back to back weeks of like, oh crap, Monster Hunter's out. Oh shoot, this is like it just Pirate Accused's out. Here we go. So like just there have been game after game. Split Fiction came out last week, and so yeah, just been week after week of that. So it's kind of nice actually to be able to just take a breath before it dives back in next week with Assassin's Creed, and then the anime Dark Souls game, the Kazan Berserker game, which looks awesome. Like we're gonna keep going. It's gonna keep moving. So whatever slowness we're experiencing now will change. So don't get too comfortable. But before we dive into there are some new games that we'll go through quickly. There are some that probably you've never heard of that I thought would be cool to highlight. But before we do that, just to catch up a little bit. So Dan, what have you been up to? I see that you've got some cool stuff in your room. You've been adding to it over the last couple years. Is there anything new that you're like pumped about? That you're like, dude, I'm so pumped I have this in my gaming space right now. Like, is there anything you want to show off?
I'm spotting indie right up
Um,
there. I've been
I,
eyeballing
I'll
Indiana
just grab
Jones up there.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
I'll just grab this just because I happen to come across this, and unfortunately, I didn't really start collecting, saving my stuff till like late 20s. So a lot
uh
of my
huh.
stuff from my childhood I don't have anymore. Came across this at a Facebook Marketplace thing, and just picked up a Game Boy Color
Dude, what a
last
Game Boy
week.
relic
So
that
Color.
is. That thing's so cool.
yeah. So I got a few games to go with it. I got Super Mario Land, and then I did get Pokemon Blue, but that doesn't work. So I think I gotta replace the battery in that.
Mm, gotcha. Hit up a couple
But
pawn
yeah, so
shops, grab a whole bunch of Game Boy games. There's so many, you
hmm
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, there's a lot. So yeah,
that's
no, it's
so
just
cool.
something fun to find. Otherwise, yeah, it's always something new, whether a Lego or something. I just put together a Lego Harry Potter village thing, so it's up on one of my other shelves.
Sick.
But yeah, that's kind of my cool, fun new stuff.
Dude, that is pretty awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, Kyle, do you have any, I haven't asked you in a while. Have you added anything new to your collection? You've always had a
Nah,
cool
nah.
collection back there.
I kind
No?
of just move things around back there, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's I haven't gotten any updates in a while. Might be
Yeah,
getting a
same
Death
here.
Stranding statue though. Like
Okay.
after
All
that
right.
after that
Nice.
trailer, might be grabbing something from
Yeah.
that collection. So
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll look at that trailer together. There's actually like the special edition that shows that statue and the other goodies you get if you get the Super Kojima edition or whatever they're calling it.
that's right. You get to be his best friend if you buy that edition. So
Yeah, yeah. I think you get his
that's right.
phone number. You can text to them and talk about horror
So you
movies that
get
he
a
likes.
line direct to him all day,
Yeah,
every day.
that's how it works. Um, all right, cool. Well, let's talk about a couple of new things that are out. I'm gonna bring up just a couple of videos of stuff. I said there's nothing new. There kind of isn't, but also let's talk about the stuff that did release, even if it's not necessarily in our wheelhouse. We'll kick things off with good old WWE 2K25 is out. I don't know if you guys are gonna play this. I've bought them a couple times over the years, and I have a decent amount of fun with them. But they're more
hmm
our good buddy Jeff's thing than mine, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
But
I'm not a big wrestling game guy, but a lot of them will show up on Game Pass after a while, so I'll download like last year's and
hmm
play a few matches. They're
Yeah,
fun for what they are.
I feel like I every once in a while I'll play through like 2 hours of a story mode, and I'll be like, I got my fill. So,
hmm
this one
I
looked like
was
it had a really cool like
well,
online
it has
mode
it
though.
has the WrestleMania recreation right here, right at the end
Oh,
where
okay, that's cool.
Taker shows up and choke slams The Rock and helps out Cody in that big WrestleMania match last year. But uh, so I imagine they'll have you relive some cool moments, you know. Um,
Yeah.
hmm
but yeah, create a character. It looks like it's got all that. So anyway, yeah, that is out, and I know that is a huge win for fans of those games. They have gotten better. I think the average on this is an
Yeah,
82 range
yeah,
on
that's
Open
pretty
Critic,
good for
which is good.
a wrestling game.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too shabby. But there's other stuff out. Let's take a look. We've got this hitting Game Pass. It's not new, but it's worth highlighting.
Heck
Little
yeah.
mullet Mad Jack. Dan, I don't know if you've
Right
seen
on.
this game, but Kyle and I have probably talked too much about it. No, you know what? No, we didn't. We didn't talk too much
No, we
about it.
didn't talk enough
Th-
about it. Yeah.
This game,
Oh
this game
man.
is crazy
It's
and
it's the
awesome.
best. Yeah, if you've got Game Pass, you got to check this one out. This game's
Absolutely.
amazing.
It looks kind of like a first-person Hotline Miami almost.
It's
Dude,
kind of what it is a little bit.
yes.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of described it perfectly.
Same vibes for sure. Less
Yeah.
murdery and more cyberpunky, but
That's
Yeah.
cool.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
very very cool.
No,
Very cool.
it
Very
definitely
fun.
looks dope. Oh heck yeah.
Yeah, it's super violent, pushing guys into anything from some fun boss fights. These sliding sequences are cool, but yeah, pushing either shooting, hacking, stabbing, or kicking into like a fan or some kind of vending machine to shock them to death. Like all kinds of good stuff that you can do.
Right on.
Got a lot of style. Just really like the
A
like
lot
Yeah,
of
no,
first
it
style.
does
this game.
have a
Yeah.
ton of style. That
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
great.
So even though it's already been out, it is on Game Pass. Figured it was worth re-highlighting this one for folks who have missed it, and to give people a visual who have just heard us talk about it. Now you can see
I
it
know. I
because
feel like this game is
chances
so
are
hard
pretty
to.
good. You might hear us talk about it and then you forget about it. I'm going to show it to you
Yeah.
so you have to think about it. And so, yeah,
Right. Yeah, it's in your brain now.
it's like an old ad right there. I love that. That was cool. All right, another game that has been out but is now out on Switch is called On Your Tail. It's like this little furry adventure. I don't know if
Okay.
that's actually what it
Okay.
is, but
Okay.
Let's-
All right.
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
it's a like point and click adventure style game. I'm not actually sure. But anyway, it looks cute.
Getting
I
off
suppose it's a
downloading
Switch
this
game.
game right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Yeah, very
are.
very
Yeah.
cozy
Very,
kind of
very
game.
Very cozy. Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
So there you go. There's that one. I'll keep this moving, guys. This game we saw at I think it was the State of Play or something last year, but this is a cool little farm sim game that you're basically a retired warrior in this game called Wander Stop, and now you're trying to settle down and help in this village, and so it's a farm life sim that you guys have seen and played before. But
Mhm.
again, it's getting really good reviews, and it just has a different take where you are now this retired warrior who's trying to settle down in this town. So I don't know if there's any combat in it, like you get pulled back in. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm. I
again,
remember
looks
seeing
very
this. I remember
cozy and
when this got
charming.
announced. Yeah.
Yeah, Wander Stop is what it's called. It is on PC, PS5, and Xbox. If you want to give that one a look, I don't think it's on Game Pass or PS Plus, but it might be. It's worth checking. But yeah, it's got really good, really good response from the audience so far. All right, another re-release that is now out on PC, which maybe this game will really find some good life there. Is Rise of the Ronin is out on PC
Nice.
now. So this is one that I kind of forgot about last year after I put a few hours into it, and it just didn't really click for me, and I was just playing other things.
Mhm.
But it's got style, and I imagine on PC it's probably looking pretty good. So
Mhm.
anyway, that is now out. Dan, did you ever play this one?
No, I never got around to checking this out last year. A lot of people recommended it though. They said it was a heck of a lot of fun. Yeah, just for whatever reason, but maybe, eventually. I'm not picking it up right now on PC, but if it's on a
Yeah.
sale later this year.
Yeah. Because Kyle, I know this is like right up your alley in terms of setting, but
I
I don't know how
know.
much time you were able to put into it. If
I
maybe you were like
maybe
me
like
and you kind of
I
the
did.
first area.
It was just a few hours in that first area, and like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I don't have a lot of space for like these
Yeah.
types of games.
Which is
Is it more of a
Just
like
with
what's the
time.
combat style? Is it more like Dark Souls or like actiony
Yeah,
like Bayonetta or
it kind of it's like more like Neo, like their previous game.
okay,
Neo.
Which
sure.
it's
Yeah.
Oh,
fast
yep.
paced and combo based, but kind of still soulsy. Whatever that means. I know
All
that's
right.
kind of a loaded term, but
It's got Souls
um,
elements to the game structure, I would say, but
yeah,
not
yeah. But it's
not a
definitely a
full-on
little.
Souls like.
It's definitely yeah, absolutely. It's definitely
Uh,
not.
yeah, no, I totally dig the vibe, but yeah, I'm waiting for Assassin's Creed Shadows, so this will probably
Yeah.
Hey,
come
there's a
later.
lot of samurai stuff right now. Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there is, and then that Oni is coming out too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, also out now is this game that it's apparently from a series I'm not super familiar with called Fate, but this is called Fate Reawakened. So this is a collection, I guess, of kind of remastered versions of these Fate games. I don't know much about them, but I just thought it looked kind of interesting. And if that is an IP that you're familiar with, that is out now. Kind of has this isometric action RPG look to it. Look, obviously, is cleared up, right? Like the
Diablo or
visuals do look
Gauntlet
Yep.
or something like that.
Yeah.
visuals look
No, it
much
looks like
better.
maybe computer games. Yep. I've never heard
Mm,
of them, but
Yeah,
does look
yeah.
better.
Clearly has a nice upgrade to it. So Fate Reawakened is out now. Here's the title for it on consoles and Steam. All right, and then there's this super creepy point and click adventure horror game called Asylum that is out,
yeah.
but I haven't heard of it. I think it's got pretty decent fan response, but I also thought it looked creepy, and I know a couple of you guys are big into your
Oh yeah.
creeper games.
Yeah, I'll
So
play one from time to time.
so it's called Asylum in all caps. Uh, yeah, it looks pretty messed up.
Yeah,
So
looks
Yeah, it
creepy.
does.
yeah,
Yeah. Creepy
so yeah,
point
it
and
is
click.
out now. That font reminds me a little bit of Redfall. Does that make you think of Redfall a little bit? I don't
Yeah, a
know
little
why.
bit, yeah.
It's not a Redfall with that.
Remember
Sorry to put a
Redfall,
bad
guys?
yeah.
Remember that one?
Sorry to put a bad
What,
mojo
what
on
a,
it, but
what a
yeah.
what a game.
That was a game, right? That was a game.
It definitely existed, kinda.
All right, this game is called Metal Bringer, and it is sort of this action mech game that I thought was worth calling out. I think it's got roguelike elements in it. The idea is you can do some permanent and some temporary upgrades, but cool
Hmm.
pixelated art style.
That's pretty cool.
No idea if
Yeah.
it's fun or good, but it's got a cool look to it. Um, so yeah, I thought I'd call that one out. It's called Metal Bringer, and it is on Steam and PS5.
Nice.
So, yeah, guys, you can rise from defeat and grow ever stronger. So
Well, that says it all.
So, yeah,
sometimes I like to read the
how
subtitles
inspiring.
as like
I
one of
like
those
to really
fortune
think about
cookies.
it too. It's like someone like workshopped that. Like a whole team of people were in a room, like just like throwing ideas off each other, and that's the one that they came up with.
Someone was adamant it should be grow from defeat and rise ever stronger, and they had a
Yeah,
fight about it.
someone. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I don't think that's the right order. Yeah, absolutely. It was a
and
week
so
of someone's
but the
job.
one who liked rise and then grow, they were the nephew of like the director, and so it just yeah,
Had to keep
that's
them
the one
in
they
it.
Yeah.
went with. Yeah,
Had
yeah.
to keep him happy.
Yeah.
I like to build the lore around games like this. So, all right, this is one that's not brand new, but I wanted to highlight because it's new enough. Came out like last month, I think. We haven't talked about it at all. It's called Keep Driving. Super interesting game. I just downloaded it and started it up today. Actually, played it for a little while.
This is on my
It
wish list.
is. Is
Yeah.
Hmm.
it okay? It is a cool and weird little game. So you'll have these interactions right here. This is like a fight, basically an RPG fight. And then here I'll pause it. You get these cards, these special moves, and you have to drag them down into this space down here, and you have to match up. See right here, you can kind of see there's a little green and then X and then orange. So you'd probably
Mm,
play that to take out this green and take out this orange, but you still have to figure out how to get rid of the
Okay.
other ones that are left.
all
And the
right.
idea there is you want to be as efficient as you can with your cards. They have special abilities
Yep.
sometimes or whatever. Like this one that doesn't take anything out, it does something for you though. Maybe it gives you a free turn or builds back
Cool.
gas or something. Like it'll
Sure.
do so it's an RPG while also being this kind of road trip simulator. You're driving across the country, you map out where you want to go, you stop to fill up gas, you stop to repair your car, upgrade your car, stop at a convenience store to buy snacks because you got to eat. You can get new music from other people who are road tripping. This guy gave me a CD like at the
I like
first
it.
stop. So
Yeah, that's what a. I've
It's
never
like a
heard of
modern
anything
day
like this
Oregon
before.
Trail.
It does kind of seem like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
What's
got
the
a
name
cool
of
vibe.
it?
It's called Keep Driving,
Keep
and it's
driving.
just
That's
got
pretty
yeah, it's
neat.
got this cool side-scrolling pixelated effect as you can see some like really funny
Uh,
but realistic-looking characters, which is kind of funny. But yeah,
a little
um,
inventory like section. That's
yeah, whole
I'm super
Yeah.
inventory
into it.
system.
Little
Hmm.
RE4 inventory, and yeah, it looks
Yep,
good.
and you can get people to ride with you. Your car can get real beat up. You can repaint it.
Nice.
You can get pulled over. Apparently, that hasn't happened to me yet, but I imagine
Oh,
that's
Sorry,
if you.
are you trying to like get to a specific destination, or is it just seeing how far you can drive?
I think it's the idea is just you're taking a road trip across the country because at the beginning it says this is your first summer with your license and you're going to go on your first road trip, and it kind of just sets it up that way. and so just dove right in. It didn't really tell me you're trying to get to Boston for something.
And
It
you,
just
and you
said
can
Sure.
get different cars. It looks like that's. I mean,
you
I wish
you
I would
pick
have truck.
from one of three, but only one's unlocked at the beginning. So I don't know if there's a
Okay.
roguelike element where maybe later you unlock other cars for another road trip.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's got a really cool
I'm
vibe.
into
And it's
this.
got
This is cool.
really
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
really
I'm
cool
totally
music.
into this. This looks cool.
Yeah, so keep driving. See if I can find the title screen here. There you go. Keep driving. I think it's just out on Steam. Wouldn't be surprised at all though if it comes to console. Certainly, like Switch could be a good fit. So keep driving. Highly recommend that one. So, but yeah, I think that is it as far as like some of the newer stuff that is out at the moment. But um, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still really playing a ton of still what I consider to be new games like Split Fiction. Um, so since that's still technically kind of new, Kyle, I know you've taken some time to play it, so I want to hear your thoughts on it. Dan, have you played Split Fiction yet?
No, I haven't gotten into it. I mean, I like the concept of it, but just being like a, solely multiplayer game or co-op game, makes it hard. I don't have that person just hop on. So haven't checked it out yet. Looks cool though.
Yeah, dude. If well, I'm almost finished with my first run through with my son, but if you still haven't had anyone to play it with yet, for real, let me know because you can play it for free with someone else who owns it. So I could always
Okay.
invite you to
Well,
join me if you want to. If you want to try it, I'd be happy to
oh,
like we'll figure out a
yeah, I'd
time.
like to play it. I mean, the gameplay looks cool and everything. I mean, if we can figure that out, I don't have somebody I'd typically play that with. So that's kind
Yeah,
of one of those
yeah.
games I just feel like, it's too hard.
See, when it's a
Yeah.
game that I can play single player, I play it single player. But if it's something like this where
Hmm.
you have to play multiplayer, it makes you do it. I begrudgingly do, but then I always am so glad I did because it's so fun. Kyle, what are you thinking about it? You and Jeff played it for a little bit. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on
I
it so
thought we were
far?
just gonna jump on and play it for like a couple hours. And I think we played it for like 5.5 hours, like
Oh,
nonstop.
wow. That's
So
that's a lot.
that's fun.
Yeah,
It's really good. There were just so many times I was just like, shut up, like
yeah,
just telling the like, what is this? What are we doing?
yeah,
And I absolutely love that. So creative, so unique.
yeah.
So fresh, even though like it's wearing the skin of, or maybe it has the bones of It Takes Two. Like where
Okay.
again, like it's using a lot of different like mechanics and platforming ideas and yada yada. But like I don't know, it still feels nothing like that game, despite it kind of like parading around as something similar. I just like the setup of it being like sci-fi and fantasy, and the levels are a lot longer than I thought they'd be. So it's like you really settled in. Like we only got through like two areas, in that time,
Nice.
like the first sci-fi area and the first fantasy area to completion. And there's just so many side quests and stuff like that, which are the best parts of the games. There's like a train heist. Did you find that one, Tim? The train heist side
Oh yeah.
quest.
Oh yeah.
It's so like you like
You're like on these gliders
wing
trying to get to it.
wingsuit in, and
Yeah,
like all this stuff is
yeah.
going. It's just like this is the gameplay for just this side quest
Is
here.
that the one when you it turns
Um,
into skiing too? Kind of like power
yeah,
speed
yeah,
skiing too? Yeah,
yeah, yep.
yeah.
It has so many transitional like moments in terms of its platforming, and just a lot of great stuff where like one character is serving a certain function and you're serving another function, and you have to like time and communicate together to like create platforms for each other, or progress for each other in some way. And like it is as co-op as a co-op game can be, and
Yep.
nothing is occupying this space. Like I feel like Joseph Ferris shows up every 2 years and is like, hey, here's another one, and like nobody's kind of
Yeah.
catching on that people are really into this. So maybe there's some like small stuff on Steam that are like really co-op based, but like I feel like there's a lot of space here for people to try some
Oh,
stuff in and try and get into. But I don't know, not no
yeah.
one no one's
No,
taking the hint.
I think right now they pretty much have the market cornered on this. I mean, they seem to be the
Yeah,
only ones making hugely popular co-op only games.
it's very strange to me. Yeah, especially again with how big It Takes Two was, and it's just everyone's just got their heads down, going, I don't know, how do we microtransaction something?
Yes,
I don't know. I
right.
don't know. I don't know what the play is, but it's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. So many laughs. I mean, Jeff and I laugh constantly when we're hanging out, anyways. But like, this game is so inducing of crazy.
Yep.
He got to be the sci-fi girl. I was the fantasy guy, and like
Yeah.
he gets to do all the cool stuff in his level. So I'm spending all this time going, why am I doing this while you're riding a bike? Like I'm doing like, are you a robot like style mini
Uh-huh.
games or whatever, trying to hack something or
Dude,
I
that was
detonate a
so
bomb.
funny. My son
And
was
while
the one
Jeff is
trying
having the
to
coolest, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say my son was the one trying to like hack while I'm riding the motorcycle, and we were just dying laughing at how silly, preposterous the whole thing was. It
And
was
and
funny. It
Jeff
was
is
great
rubbing
though.
it in. He's like, "Dude, look what
Yeah.
I'm doing right now." And I go, "I can't. I have to I have to do this. I'm so mad that you're doing all this fun stuff while I'm doing this. So, but it's you get your turn too when you're the other person in their
Yeah.
story. They get cooler stuff
Yeah.
to do, and I do like that
And it's
because it.
relatively balanced, right? Like
Yeah,
in that set of sci-fi levels, one of you has this gravity sword, which does some really cool like
yeah,
gravity shifting things. But the other one has a whip, which is super useful, and also he was using to just smack me with from across the stage all the time. He kept like whipping me with it. I was like, "Stop
yeah.
hitting me!" But yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we're at
There's
the final kind of area, I guess you could say, um,
cool.
ourselves. Yeah, really loving it. A lot of good laughs. There's some they call them side stories. They're basically like non-main narratives that are in these writers' heads that are crafted as little side missions, optional quests. If you start to skip one, they'll usually say, "Ah, too bad we don't have time to do that side story." And then usually that means it causes us to like look around, like, where is it? What did we miss? Because there are some that
I
are a little off
I
the beaten
love
path.
that. I don't
Yeah.
I don't yeah, I don't want to feel like I missed anything. So I like that the game
Right.
like chirps at you. It's like, "Hey, look, there's a side story over there." You're like, "Where?" Oh.
Yeah.
So I do like that a
Yeah, there's
lot.
a couple of them. One of them, of course, involves a farm with some pigs that we were just dying the whole time. I don't know if you guys did the pig one. Did you do
Yeah,
the
we did
pig
that.
side
Yeah, that
story?
one was hilarious. Yeah. And I
Oh
knew it
my
was coming cuz
gosh.
I've seen some trailers. But Jeff had
Yeah.
no idea. We're
Oh,
squirting
he must
mustard
have
and
just
ketchup all over
been
each other. Oh,
he must have
I
been
mean,
dying.
it was a riot. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so funny. This I
Well,
don't know.
there's other
It's a
really
very
funny
funny
ones
game.
later. There's some fun race ones where it's like you're face off with each other in a couple of side stories, and then there's there's another one that involves the Candyland, and it
Nice.
I won't say exactly what it is. All I'll say is it goes from being like weirdly super sweet to like crazy dark real quick, and
That's
but
awesome.
it's
Yeah,
great,
good
man.
for
It
them.
Takes Two did that sometimes too. They would like
Hmm.
present you with something, and then all of a sudden it's like you have to get the tears of this stuffed elephant. You know what I mean? Like it got real dark real quick, and It
Yeah,
Takes
Hmm.
Two as well.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, we're loving it. It's and he keeps saying too. He's like, man, I didn't know games could like be this good. He just plays like Marvel Rivals and Fortnite, and like he's all into the online games. He's like, I just didn't know
Hmm.
that games like
Yep.
this could be this fun. I was like, yeah, they
Like I
could.
maybe I'm out of pocket saying this because I'm not good at like Portal and Portal 2 and stuff like that. In fact, I'm bad at those games. But like for me, I feel like I get the same aha out of this that I did that I imagine other people get out of like Portal. Like when you solve a puzzle finally and you're like, "Wow, that's
Dude,
so
good
smart and who
point.
thought about this and yada yada." I feel like
Yeah,
there's some parallels there for sure. So if you're
yeah.
missing a portal size hole in your heart, especially Portal 2, which was co-op, this might fill that void a little bit, I'd say.
No, I totally agree with that. That's true. And it's clearly inspired. Certain levels are inspired by other games. You'll have everything from a side-scrolling shooter to a racing game to a. I haven't seen first-person shooter, but there's been third-person shooters.
Hmm.
There's an isometric action RPG element in some level later. To like they shift and there's even like I guess that motorcycle racing type thing. So, like there's all kinds of crazy little genres that are tossed in there. Um, there's a really cool hand drawn side story that the art style just blew me away. It looked like a full indie game, and it's just a little side story. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's pretty cool to have
super.
that kind of
I'm.
variety.
Yeah, man, I'm
Yeah.
so impressed by this game. So impressed by it. But anyway, yeah. So I'm loving it. I'm glad you're getting a chance to play it, Kyle, and I recommend everyone give it a try. It is currently on OpenCritic at least in that easily in that top three. There's like three games that are kind of vying for the top rating so far this year, and it's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Monster Hunter Wilds and this game. So and Split Fiction. So it's up there, and I think it's deserving. It's really really good. So
Yeah.
Nice.
anyway, I wanted to highlight that one since it is still relatively new, and I know it's at least for this week it was Kyle's chance to dive into it. So and I knew you guys were having fun playing it. Yeah, it's just a really good time. surprisingly good story too, and like good dialogue. Like he's been doing that since that No Way Out game and the Brothers game. Like he's always
Mm-hmm.
him and his team have always written compelling stories with interesting characters. But just to confirm, that's still happening here. Like good
Yeah, I agree.
characters, and you get some insights into each of them over time. They start to connect with each other. They start to very different personalities, but they start to kind of bond as they share about family and loss and stuff like that. And it's really, yeah, it's really good. So yeah, I dig it. So, all right, Split Fiction is really good. Let's talk about a few headlines. One of the things that came up this past week is right here, and I think I had my audio off. Not that we need it, but I'll have it on a little bit if you guys want to hear some of this. But Silent Hill F trailer launched this past week. Wait, can you hear that? Is it too loud?
Yep.
No,
No, that's good.
I can hear it a bit.
Okay. Um, so I'm not a big Silent Hill guy, but that's just because a lot of horror games, I'll just kind of let them go by. I don't worry too much about them. But I know that, for example, last year the Silent Hill remake was it Silent Hill 2 remake?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I know that's one that you definitely liked, Kyle. Dan, was that a game that you dove into as well? Silent Hill 2?
No,
I
I
didn't.
haven't got that yet. Like I've never been
I
a
never
Silent
played it.
Hill guy. I was always Resident Evil, and so yeah, unfortunately, kind of always missed them. But definitely interested in the
Yeah.
remake, and this looks good.
Yeah, this is interesting because it is a change for the series to be the location and the time is different. It's in Japan in the 1960s, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
'Cause, yeah,
what are
Silent
your
Hill's
thoughts on
always
it, Kyle? As someone you've played all the games, I think, right? All the Silent Hills. What do you
Yeah,
think
I
about
haven't beaten
this?
all of them, but I have played all of them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Silent Hill's always traditionally been like Japan's view of like traditional Americana. So it's always kind of like weird, almost like Twin Peaksy, style,
Mhm.
take on it or whatever. So it's cool to have them bring it into their side of things because it looks completely different. I mean, like even just putting it in Japan, obviously immediately changes the entire like aesthetic of the game. It looks like they're really leaning into this like planty fungal, type
Yep.
of lean as well, which is really cool. Reminds me a
Super
lot of Fatal
creepy.
Frame. Like Fatal Frame always usually like
Oh
traditionally takes place like
yeah.
in like Japan and stuff like that. And Fatal Frame is like my favorite horror series ever. So like it kind of really hit a lot of notes of that
Mhm.
for me. So I'm excited for this. I've I'm more of a Resident Evil guy too, Dan. I think
Yeah.
Dan from the podcast is as well. So it's like we're all. I think a lot of people lean more Resident Evil, but like these are a little more psychological, a little more like you
Right.
take a lot. They stick with you.
Mhm.
After you beat them. Um, but
Yeah.
It
You remember
looks
that game
brighter
on
and more colorful.
GameCube? It was like Eternal Darkness, I
Eternal
think.
Oh
Darkness,
yeah.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Is that kind of like more the vibe of the Silent Hill games, or?
Yeah, I mean, Eternal Darkness goes the extra mile by like psychologically torturing you,
Like an
Right.
by having
actual
all those
like
like weird stuff.
meter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But
remember that.
this is again more psychological scares than jump scares. So yeah, maybe some
Okay.
brethren going. Yeah, it's maybe some connective tissue going on there.
So I
But
know
yeah,
the
this looks
creators
really
talked about wanting to lean into the beauty elements of the horror side of this too. So you see that already in the trailer with the colors, lots
Mhm.
of reds and like
yeah.
bright
Oh yeah.
uses of
So,
light. That mostly I think Silent Hill. I think of a super foggy, hard to see
right.
New
Brown
England
and gray.
town,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
Yeah.
brown, very gray, and so but this
No,
is
I
emphasizing the
definitely like
colors.
all the red. Yeah, that they've thrown in. Who's making the game? Who's developing it?
Is it Bloober or who?
Let's
I
see.
don't know actually, or someone in Konami.
Yeah,
I doubt it's Bloober. Bloober's not working on this.
because I mean, I don't think Konami actually has studios that make games,
Yeah,
do they?
they don't. Yeah, I don't know who's making this. I know
Oh,
they
Hmm.
announced all of
so
it
messed
all.
up.
Yeah,
I,
that's
but
so gross.
it
Yeah,
sounds like Bloober did really good with the two remake, and I think they were
they
going to
did.
do something else for Konami, but I don't know if that's announced, like what
They
it
did
is,
kind
or
of. They just kind of said, yeah, we want to do more, and like I think that was the last thing that they
Hmm.
yeah.
said. When
I don't
those
know,
were
and
talking.
I kind of like always
No more.
dismissed that team a
Is
little
that what
bit,
it
and it
was?
looked like, yeah, Silent Hill 2 was killer,
Was.
so I'd be interested to
So
see what else they do.
yeah, this looks interesting to me. Yeah, I'd like to see some like more gameplay and like what are we doing? What's kind of the moment to moment stuff because like yeah, this
Hmm.
game's not really about like shooting and like hitting and stuff like that. It's a lot more like just run away and try and get to the next thing. And Resident Evil, I'm sorry, Silent Hill 2 kind of added a little more action, and I use that term kind of lightly. It adds a little more like friction between you and the bad guys, which was
Mm.
new for the series. It's not really always about like standing and shooting, kind of like Resident Evil kind of
Hmm.
became.
Right.
So I'm
Yep.
interested. Yeah, what are they leaning into? Is it going to be more like remake? Is it going to be more like the old Silent Hills? Seems
Yeah.
interesting though.
It
Good
is the
trailer.
Yeah.
Neobards team that you see there at the bottom. The
See, I'm not
Neobards.
familiar
Okay.
with them. I wonder if
Yeah,
they
me
were
neither.
created. I wonder
That's
if
the
they were
development
created for
team
this.
though.
Hmm.
So,
All right.
I'm actually curious
Everything's an
now.
Unreal, all Unreal Engine. They cornered the whole market. The
They have.
Starbucks of engines.
So Neobards has done. Let's see. Their website just has a bunch of what looks like generic art about how they love to create worlds and stuff. They did the Dead Rising Deluxe remaster.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess they helped with development somehow on Rebirth for PS5, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
So they're like a freelance Japanese
I
like
think they're a
studio,
support development
like a
studio.
support development.
Yeah, that's kind of what it
Yeah,
sounds like.
they helped on everything. They helped on all the Resident Evil remakes that have come out so far.
Okay.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah. Well, those are
they
good
helped with
games.
Marvel Avengers. They helped with Reverse. They helped with Mega Man Battle Network collection. So that's interesting. They have a
Sick.
wide
Yeah.
variety of things they've done. So Dynasty
It's
Warriors
another. They're
M.
kind of another Bloober team. I mean, that's how Bloober got its start too. Was
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
kind of doing fringe stuff and helped working on other things.
yeah. Well, to stay in Kyle's camp here, we have it confirmed that Space Marine 3, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 3 is happening.
It
They're
just
they're already starting it. So,
when Space Marine 1 hit or came out wasn't a hit, I had to wait 10 years before ever hearing about this series ever again. Maybe more like
oh, let's
8
go
or
back.
whatever, but like it's just insane to me that like months after the second one came out, they're like making another one. So
Yeah,
I knew it did well, but I didn't realize it like was greenlit and fast tracked well. I didn't realize that that's how good it was selling.
yeah,
I mean, these are probably not cheap games. Like they look very expensive when you're looking at them. So
yep.
I'm shocked that they're just moving forward with it so quickly. But that's awesome. I'm
I
pumped,
think
dude.
it's the
I,
same team,
I,
right? It's the Nacon or Focus, or I
Yep.
forget who's doing it, but yeah, it's the same crew is working on it. So
I don't know. Second one must have hit well enough because what was it, like 10 years between the first and the
Yeah,
second game?
it was a long time in between the two. It
So
was about 10 years. Yeah.
yeah, so they just said, heck yeah, we're gonna get right back on this, and that I haven't played all of it, but I mean, Space Marine 2 is fantastic. I
It's
definitely
so
take more
good.
of that.
Yeah, it's there's another game that like a little lean into co-op. Yeah, that does have
mm,
multiplayer, but like they really push to like get
Yeah.
two buddies and like play 3 player with this one.
yeah,
And
No,
you don't have to
and
do it
and
either. You
it's
can just play it
definitely
all. You can all play it all
yeah.
single player as well.
No, and it's nice like when you can do that. And I played a few missions with like a few other people, but you can totally just hop in by yourself. I mean, I played the majority of what I played single player so far, and it's just fine like that
I
too. I
ran
mean,
through it quick by myself just because I didn't want to
yeah.
wait for anybody, and then I doubled back
Well,
and
also you
yeah,
want
went to it. Yeah.
you love the story of and you love the lore
I
though, so you kind of
right,
want
do,
to
yeah.
experience that.
yeah,
And it does
yep,
have an ongoing story. I mean, this was a direct sequel to the first
yeah,
one, so but they did a good job of
yeah.
like catching you up.
They didn't do bad, but I literally watched like a 30 minute recap of the first one because I never played it. I had no idea how much lore is actually in this. Like,
So
it's
much
crazy.
lore. Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
my god,
you do get
like there's a
characters who
lot
come
to
back.
learn.
You're like, oh,
Yeah,
it's that guy. There's a big reveal at the end, and
Right.
it's like it's a guy. I don't want to reveal it, but you're like, if you played the first game, you're gonna be like, holy crap, like it's a big deal.
that
So
guy.
I love
Yeah.
that they're like continuing on because it is a very story rich and world building rich, franchise. And I
Mm.
Heck
think
yeah.
that like I was talking to Gaston in the group, and it's just like with like the upcoming Henry Cavill TV show, and like I think there's like
Oh
an anime
yeah.
coming out, and like there's that episode on Secret Level on the Amazon Prime
Hmm.
show with this. Like, there's just a lot of Warhammer like mainstream stuff going on right now,
Yeah.
and it's cool that like it seems like Games Workshop is capitalizing on it. It seems like a
Yep.
lot of money is going to a lot of these different things. So
Yep. They got a few decades worth of lore and story to pull from too, so they have no shortage of sources for stories if they wanted
yeah,
to continue this, right? So that's
oh
pretty
yeah,
cool. All right. Well, the next thing is there was a major update for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And this is Luke Stevens. I do like his channel. I watch some of his content sometimes, at least around Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I have been. But he does a really cool kind of recap of the update, which includes. I'm actually gonna mute it. Which includes everything from I think one of the main like gameplay additions that wasn't there before is haircuts. You can like do hair and facial hair. I think. Let me see if he has it in here.
Nice, finally. So everybody's main character won't look the same anymore.
Yeah, so you can do your hair and beard. I don't know how many options there are, but there's at least some, which is nice. So that's kind of cool that they added that. I think in the past game it was maybe there via mods. I'm not sure if they had it in the original game. I don't remember. At least not as far as I played it, they didn't.
I don't
But
remember.
give yourself a nice medieval mullet there, and maybe a nice
Heck
stash.
yeah.
Why not? So that's pretty cool. But there are so many other elements they added. As you see here, let me see if I can get a pause on it. So like he's just scrolling quickly through their list of fixes. They said it's over 1,000 fixes,
It was like a
which
55
Nice.
gig update. Like it was
it was
huge.
huge.
I had
It
to
was
clear space
huge.
off my hard drive just to download this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I think it like replaced a big chunk of the game. Like I think your file size is probably still the same or
Yeah, no.
ish the
Once it
same.
downloads, it compresses back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
man, it was a
it
big
didn't
update.
inflame the main
Yeah,
the main
that's good.
space. But that's amazing. Like this will be the first time in a long time I haven't beaten the game before the first major update came out. So now I get to
Yeah,
play all these updates. I get to enjoy some of
there's a
these
lot of cool
fine
stuff.
tunement.
Yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
Another thing they added was official mod support. Of course, there's always unofficial mod support. If you have a PC, you can always find ways through Nexus mods and other tools to get all kinds of crazy mods going. But there's official Steam Workshop support now where you literally just go into the Steam Workshop, pick the mod you want, hit subscribe or add, and then you fire up the game through Steam, and then you've got your mod active there. So that's pretty cool that it's you don't have to use any kind of outside third party tool. I've looked through a few of them. There's already some good ones that comes. Everything from we've sped up the animation for picking herbs, all these little quality of life things. We've increased your horse's inventory. They call it pack mule if you want to just have a ton of inventory on your horse, or like lots of different things. Like if you want to improve the game, and then also other stuff like lighting. Like, hey, there's lighting improvements. There's, we fixed an issue where in some shaded environments, characters' faces looked weird, which did happen to me. A couple times, faces looked really off in cutscenes. I was like, what happened to their face? It was just a lighting bug. So yeah, tons and tons of fixes, and I know they've got a bunch of big DLC plans for the rest of the year, but this was a pretty major update for them. And I think this guy Luke played through a bunch of it. I have not fired it back up since the update. Actually, I haven't fired it up since I completed it. But I think over 100 hours into it, I needed to jump to other stuff. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I love this game. Like I did not expect to love it, but now I am like a diehard defender. And even like for the last game, I played it for a little while, and like Kyle said, he and I were on the same page of like, yeah, it's got so many cool elements, and I could see someone plowing through and like just pushing through the steep learning
the
curve.
rough edges.
But
Yeah.
but there were a lot
Yeah.
of rough edges. It launched in a really rough state apparently when it first launched 5 years ago, whatever that was.
I mean,
But
it
this
launched like
one,
a studio's first ambitious big game launches,
yes,
so it's
Right.
like
yes. But
not
even in this,
not a
like this,
diss by any means.
even in this clip you're seeing, like I found myself really surprised at how detailed and scenic a lot of things were as you're riding your horse around. Like when he looks off to the left and you can just see the valley and the river. I was just like, I'm so impressed even by the visuals of this game. So I
Hmm.
am like I'm like a pretty staunch defender now, and I get offended if someone doesn't like it, like I do. You know what I mean? So
What do you mean?
just kidding.
Noted.
What? No,
It's like,
explain it. Explain
yeah,
it.
what do you mean you don't like it?
What? Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm
Even
excited
though
to get
I'm
back into it.
okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I'm
you'll
very
you'll love the
excited. Yeah,
direction it goes to.
it's
There were certainly some glitches that I hit. Everything from, when blacksmithing, sometimes my sword would go down through the anvil. It was just clipping through, and then my hits would be inconsistent. So I was like, okay, they got to fix that. And that only happened after certain fast travels to certain towns. I couldn't quite piece
Hmm.
together what was causing it. It just happened sometimes.
Just open world jank, It's just
Open
Yep.
world
it's
jank,
yeah.
like in
It
Witcher,
happens.
when I got out of a boat and Geralt was all of a sudden 50 feet in the air and then fell to his death, and I had to reload
My
my
favorite is
save.
when
Yeah.
Roach like ends up on a roof or something. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I've had one where I get off Roach and he just shoots like straight up in the air. Those are the best.
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, why is he showing Starfield now? Interesting. Maybe he's comparing the two.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I uh, I thought this was a super super cool update. Over 1,000 fixes, everything from NPC behavior, environmental improvements, tweaks on how equipment works, which I'm not sure exactly what that means. I gotta look into that.
Maybe there's some
Um,
streamlined features there. I need to watch a video and have someone point all the things out to me. So whenever I jump
yeah,
in, I can appreciate it a little
the
more.
a lot of it was fixes, and then the Barber edition, and then mods are now added. Those are the big first steps. So that is
Nice.
pretty cool, guys. One of my most anticipated games has now been announced officially.
Oh boy.
It's it's Power Wash Simulator 2. Okay,
Heck yeah.
it's
Ooh, nice.
OCD, the video game.
that's right.
Yeah.
Got to clean it all, I think, is they're saying.
Now,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
now with co-op, right?
Now with like split screen co-op, which is
Yep.
pretty funny. You can play with like family or friends on the same couch, which is
You have a
cool.
squirt gun?
Yeah, dude, this
Oh,
looks so
okay.
fun. Yeah, this looks fun. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
into
it
larger
it.
does.
area, larger areas. Of course, probably some new mechanics and things like that. I think they actually highlighted a few uh, of them in their press release or whatever about this. But to me, it's less about that and more about just give me more things to clean. Like give me, whole
Oh yeah,
towns to clean.
that
I think
turkey
it's
needs a
super fun.
cleaning. Look at that thing. So
Yeah,
filthy.
and it's so satisfying to watch the colors come out as you just
Yeah, all the
clean it
grime come
off.
off and everything.
It's it's ridiculous. But you can do a campaign co-op with someone else and you share progress together, things like that. You don't just jump in. I think you
Hmm.
could play some co-op online before. I just never tried it, but now you can do it split screen, which is super fun. So there you go. That is coming out
Yeah,
later
that's
this
cool.
year. I don't think they said when, but yeah, that hits later this year. All right, I thought this was interesting because it's a new feature that is being added. That of course it's been a Microsoft thing for a while. This AI, what do they call it? Copilot. So
Copilot.
that's been a yeah, Copilot's been a thing, of course, but now there's an Xbox specific version, and I'm gonna fast forward through a little bit of their. Okay, this was their podcast where they talked about it, but some of the clips they showed, some of the examples were interesting. Where it's designed to be your own, they say, personalized gaming companion. So like right here, I want to get back into this game. Can you install it? And then they'll offer you a recap of where you left off, and then they'll summarize it for you, which is kind of cool. Like again, assuming this all works
Hmm.
correctly and doesn't come out all janky and
Right.
stupid, there's parts of that that I see as pretty appealing. To jump back into a game and then it'll like catch you up. I like that. Like I don't know, even
Yeah,
that
I do.
feature just kind of sounds nice.
Yeah, if you can kind of let me know where we left off in the story last, like I
Yeah.
Yeah,
appreciate that. I like that when a TV series gives you a recap of last week.
yeah, that's right. Or even stuff like this. You're playing Minecraft, you're not sure what to do with an item you just got, so you just ask and it'll tell you, you craft it into this thing and here's how to use your inventory. So like a little bit of game guide elements too, which I could see being, helpful to some people. Yeah, or just questions while you're playing a game. So listen, is it
Yeah,
as
I'm into it.
simple? Is it as simple as like you could have another screen open and just Google it? Sure, but there are elements of this AI stuff that is certainly streamlining our experience. Everything from, hey, go install it for me and catch me up on what I missed. Like that is a streamlined way that you don't have to go in and install it. You don't have to go do that. You can just tell. You know what I mean? There's just these little
Yeah.
streamlined improvements that are kind of interesting, I think. Now, for some people, they're very anti-AI. I am not. I think I'm cautious about AI. I think we need to be a little
Yeah.
bit careful with how much it's
Like
controlling things. But in
I
this
don't
capacity, it's great.
I know there's a lot of news going on this past week about AI like replacing like voice actors on like high profile games like Zoneless Zen Saga or whatever
Oh,
that free to play like people literally got replaced on that.
yeah.
I'm anti that, but like anything that
Hmm.
I don't know,
Right.
integrative stuff like this, that's like integrative like guides or integrative help or tools and stuff like that. these seem like great ideas to me. And
I think so
Hmm.
too.
yeah, I think that like yeah, I'm with you, Tim. Like, be cautious about what you're like cheering for, but like this doesn't seem like it's taking anybody's
Yeah,
job or anything like that. So
Right.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Do either one of you use AI tools for anything, like ChatGPT or anything?
I don't,
I
but I'm
I
sure there's
don't.
some integrative stuff that I don't realize have
Yeah,
AI
I have some
built.
coworkers that like using it a lot, like for some of their work type things. So I mean, it
Yep.
sounds like it can be super helpful if you know what you're doing with it.
It can be great, especially at the start of something. Like, hey, I need to kick off a project. Could you create a project plan for me? Could you create a meeting agenda? We need to talk about these things. Like, it can quickly do those. Can you summarize my inbox and my email for me? What did I miss over the weekend? Like,
That's
there's
cool.
lots of different AI tools that are pretty helpful to have. Or it's, hey, I need to write 10 blogs over the next 3 months. Could you give me some topic ideas based on our website? You give it the URL, and then it will
Hmm.
give you a bunch of ideas. So there's a lot
Interesting.
of
Yep.
cool ways to use it. Like to me, it's a good way to streamline what you would have done anyway, and allow you to do the stuff that I don't know is either more impactful or more fun or whatever your view on it
Hmm.
might be. So I'm interested in it. Will I ever use it? I don't know. I just think it's another interesting use case for AI. Well, I
Yeah, for
thought you
sure.
guys would both be excited about this, knowing that you enjoy the odd nostalgic gaming look back here. There's this game that just got announced called Wild Blue. Have you guys heard of this one?
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
All right, so Wild Blue just got announced. It includes, I think it was the director, or at least one of the developers from Star Fox 64.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, and so he has this studio. He's the studio head, and it's a studio called Chuhai Labs. So this is him talking about it. You don't really get to see the game much. I'll show you
Oh,
some
okay.
images of the game here in a second, though. But yeah, the game is called. Let me get back to the title screen. There it is. Yeah, the game's called Wild Blue, and he says that the idea is that they made this as a love letter, essentially, to Star Fox 64.
Say no
Let's
more.
take a
I'm
look.
in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
So
no
here's
doubt.
here's the here's the Steam listing for it. So there's a little teaser trailer, but here's some of the images for
Oh,
it.
right on.
This looks sick.
That
Right?
does
Like
look
the on
badass.
on
Yeah.
on rails Star Fox style shooter. Like
I'm
I'm
in.
super in.
Yeah. Where did
Yeah,
these
for
go?
sure.
Yeah, what these didn't have to go away. We didn't have to get rid of these.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, Wild Blue. I don't know if they didn't announce a release window or anything. They just have said kind of announced the game
They even had like
exists. So
anthropomorphic like animal pilots and stuff. It seemed like in the
yeah,
picture that you were showing. So yeah, I'm in. How fun.
yep, yep. That one looks pretty cool. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake might be arriving sooner than expected. Have you heard about this? I think Kyle, you might have even said something about this.
Yeah, yeah. Shocking if they kept this as like. I guess it wasn't a secret because it was in
Right.
like a leaked document, but like it sounds like it's a complete Unreal 5 like remake though. Like
Hmm.
this isn't like a paintbrush touch up, you know? This is like
Yeah.
switching something from one engine to a completely different engine and rebuilding it from the ground up with like probably minimal capabilities of reusing assets because you'd have to recreate a lot of that stuff. I imagine. I don't know. Maybe Unreal 5 is really easy with sucking stuff in from other engines and turning it into their own thing. I don't know. I'm a game designer, but this sounds cool. If this comes out in a month or two, I mean, it sounds like it's coming out before May or something like that. This is real.
Right,
That's
and it's
insane.
yeah, and I don't know everything I've been hearing about it. It's gonna have a pretty short window between getting announced and being released. I mean,
Yeah.
it could
So
even be shadow dropped. I heard.
that would be
That'd be crazy.
incredible if they were like, yeah, go
Right.
to your store and pick it up now. And
Hmm.
it's not just a graphical update. I mean, they updated like the again, this is just a leak, but like they were talking about some of the things that were upgraded from the HUD to inventory systems to just like
Nice.
when you're using the bow, it feeling like a modern way to use a bow, not like the Oblivion way to
Mm.
use a bow from like 25 years ago, whenever that game came out.
Right.
So
Was
yeah, it
Oblivion the one that was on the original Xbox, or was that the
no, so
one
that was
on 360?
Morrowind. That was Morrowind. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
360 era. It was like in the first year or two of
Was
Say, I
Oblivion?
360.
feel like it
Okay,
was
yep. No,
a launch game or close to launch game.
Close to
yeah,
launch,
yep.
yeah.
So yeah, that's one I've actually played. I didn't play the one that was on the original Xbox, but I played the
Yeah,
one that basically launched on the 360.
It's a good game. It's one of my favorites in the series. I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan, and this is like one of the better stories.
Okay.
Like Sean Bean is like one of the main characters. You know, like this
Mm-hmm.
is
That's
before
crazy.
Game of
Right.
Thrones. This is before Game of Thrones casting. Like he was just playing.
Right.
He's playing like the prince in that game, and it's cool, man. Like all these like gates to hell are opening up everywhere, and you have to like go into them and like destroy like idols to like collapse the realities and like leave, and like that's a reoccurring like gameplay mechanic. It's a
Yep.
hardcore RPG, way more hardcore than Skyrim. Like every
Sure.
like
Yeah.
I know Skyrim like really dumbed down, streamlined is a way better word. I don't agree with the fact that
Mm-hmm.
like Skyrim is like a lesser game. I love Skyrim. It's so
Different
streamlined, so
vision,
easy
Yeah.
to
right?
play.
Different vision for those
But
games.
but yeah,
Yeah.
but also
Yeah.
it's the way you reach more audiences too by like not being so obtuse
Yep.
and hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
Skyrim was
I
like
definitely played a
a
lot more
cultural shifter.
Skyrim than Oblivion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's easier to digest for sure. I went
Right.
back and played Oblivion a couple of years ago when I started back into kind of PC gaming, and woof, that game is old. Like, it's hard to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's in
Yeah.
need of some sort of facelift. And this is to get a full. I mean, this game is going to look incredible. I imagine if it's Unreal
Oh
5.
heck yeah! It better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope it still has only 4 voice actors though. So I hope they just keep all the like. There's like
With
4
slightly
voice
different
actors for like
voices.
1,000 people in that game, and there's like 4 different voice actors. You don't even have to
Yes.
go down the street to like hear the same voice. Like it's usually someone standing right next to the person you're talking to, same exact voice.
Same voice.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's fun. That's that Bethesda charm. But yeah, I'm excited. If this comes out
Hey.
within a couple months, I don't need it. Like
Yeah,
we're
that'd
busy.
be great.
I don't need it.
No,
But
yeah, I mean, there's
yeah,
no other stuff right now.
yeah,
Honestly,
but
for real.
Hey, listen, to their credit, having just replayed through all of Red Dead Redemption 2 and talked to so many NPCs, I know I heard some rehashed NPC
every game has rehashes.
voices.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bethesda's
Witcher
a,
no,
Three
maybe
it
a
did
little.
it.
happens.
Bethesda's a
Yeah.
little more egregious, especially early Bethesda, but like they like even Skyrim had a lot. I'm like, hey,
Kingdom Come
like,
Deliverance 2
you're the
has a
king
lot of
from another
familiar
town.
voices. Yeah, there's a lot of familiar
I
voices in that one too. But
once you can see the same face over and over again. Like
yeah,
it's just
you're like,
you
I
have to
saw
reuse
you.
You have to reuse assets. We're not. What are you gonna expect them to
Yeah.
create a whole 1,000 people? That's crazy.
Yeah, agreed. Well, it said it's being, I shouldn't say they said, the understanding is that it's being developed by Virtuos, which is a company that was established over 20 years ago. I haven't really heard of them before, Virtuos, but they, I mean, they've been known for working on AAA games and then franchises like Call of Duty, Tomb Raider, Dark Souls, BioShock, Battlefield, Uncharted, Horizon, and they're
Been
currently
around. Wow.
supporting. Yeah, they currently are supporting Konami's Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, the Delta game.
Oh
So,
wow. Okay. Good
yeah,
for them.
they've been in this space quite a bit, in this remake space quite a bit. It seems like they know what they're doing. So
Cool.
anyway, the rumor is that it's going to launch, reveal in the coming weeks, and like Dan said, launch before June. Some sources even thinking it could arrive in April, which is crazy if that's true. So we shall see. Apple Arcade is getting a couple new games that sound interesting. I'm not a big mobile gamer, but every once in a while I'll dabble. But they have a new entry in the Katamari game franchise. Is going to hit Apple Arcade,
Fun.
which is funny.
Yeah.
I just
Right
think
on.
of PS2 when I think of Katamari Damacy.
I like
just think of
Katamari.
it.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if I need
Yeah.
to like. I'm so obsessed with it. I need to play it on the go.
Right.
But yeah, but it's fun. Yeah, it's a good series.
Finally get my Katamari fix
Yeah, I could play.
Yeah.
I could play Katamari every day of every hour. I'm so excited.
while I'm
Yeah.
pooping.
Yeah.
But they're also getting a new Space Invaders game, which actually does sound cool.
All right,
I'm
on.
like, all right,
Cool.
That does sound cool.
Yeah.
maybe I'll try that out. So those are both coming next month to Apple Arcade. There is a standalone sequel for RoboCop Rogue City. You guys remember Rogue City? That
Yeah.
RoboCop game
Yeah.
that came out?
Yeah. I played this
Yeah.
last. I picked it up on a sale last year, and I was just like,
It's
oh,
super cheap right now, even too. I think
It
now
is,
it's
yeah.
down to like $9 or $10 or something like that, which is normally 40 or 50. So it's on a pretty big sale right now. But anyway, there's a full standalone sequel coming out. They're calling it RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business. And tell me this doesn't sound like it is Dread the game. Like think of the Carl Urban Dread movie. This sounds like Dread the game. When a group of highly trained mercenaries armed with cutting-edge weapons takes control of the building, turns it into their deadly fortress, RoboCop must take action and put a stop to their plans to undermine law and order. According to the developer, Nacon, players have to deal with numerous high-tech threats in Omni Tower, from flying drones and exploding bots to anti-personnel turrets. Like, this
Yeah,
sounds like
Dread. It's Carl Urban
Dread,
Dread. Yeah,
which I am super pumped
Yep.
for because I loved that movie.
Totally.
So,
yeah, Dread's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
yeah. So it's all set in one big tower, and every floor, things get, I'm assuming,
Yep.
yeah.
progressively more difficult. So,
Thanks the raid for creating this template.
yeah, the raid started it. It's their
Yeah.
fault. Well, did Die Hard start it? I don't know.
Die Hard is
You
an
know,
inability. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
eh,
yeah, a little
I'll,
bit,
yeah,
a little
we're
bit.
gonna count it. We're gonna
I think
count it.
that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah,
I
okay.
yeah.
think so.
And
The judges agree. Yeah,
and it's a Christmas movie, Dan.
it
And
is.
that's also
He's
for
not
It
here to.
is.
He's
absentee
not here to
Dan.
defend. Dan's not
Okay,
here to
well,
defend
I,
it.
I agree full-heartedly. It is a
Yeah, because it
Christmas
All right,
movie.
is. It's not a. It's not an opinion. Just a fact.
No,
I mean, it's got more Christmas references than some movies than It's a Wonderful Life. It's got more Christmas elements than It's a
right.
Wonderful Life, and
Yeah.
everyone considers
Yep.
that to be a Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life only really has Christmas in the final scene, like the final 6 minutes of that movie. The rest of it's not
Yeah.
really Christmas centric
Yeah,
at all.
that's
Um,
true.
Still a classic movie. Don't get me wrong. All right. I thought this was exciting just because this is one of those games that I know I was howling about a little bit last year. No Rest for the Wicked finally got an official
Yay.
update and revisit. Now, this is a game I know that a couple other guys on the pod have been interested in. Dan, did you ever try this one out, or have you just kind of kept your eye on it?
Yeah, no, I got it in early access, so I didn't get through quite all of the content in the first update. I played it for probably a good 10 hours, maybe, but
Okay,
I don't
what
think I
what'd you
quite
think in
got
your
through
10 hours
everything.
with it? Even though it's early access,
Um,
it was janky. But what'd you think?
yep. I thought it was great. Totally felt like I missed some stuff kind of early on and learned it later on. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I kind of feel like I got off on the wrong foot a little bit with the run I was doing and kind of just wanted to start over and take what I learned and redo it a little bit. But it's very much yeah, like a Souls-like game. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Ori games, but very
Yeah,
visceral combat. And no, I was kind of digging what they were doing with it.
yeah. No, I totally agree. I think I spent because I did a full run, finished all the content, got to the Crucible. Didn't finish a Crucible run. I kept dying because I even played it before the Crucible update, which apparently improves that kind of end game loop that you can do. Um, but anyway, so I probably put about 25 plus hours into it.
Oh wow.
Really enjoyed it.
Okay,
Thought it was super
nice.
fun. I even started another character just to kind of like what you said. Now that I know what I'm doing, let me see what this experience is like. And I did have a lot more fun. That was where I probably, because I had probably finished it in the 18-20 hour range, and I probably put another 4 or 5 hours just rolling a new character and trying it from scratch with a little more knowledge of the systems and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, they have officially announced their major content update called The Breach. Their previous content updates really were just improvements, and then the Crucible, which they call content. I'm not saying it's not, but for those of us who liked the single player story and campaign and wanted to see more areas and more bosses, and the game just feels like it's unfinished. It feels like by the time you get to the end, you're like, this can't be the whole story. Like this is act one at least of two or three. I hope you're just kind of not sure
Hmm.
what's to come. But they've officially announced the breach, which is essentially going to double the size of the game world, which is super exciting. It's already a fairly large space to explore with a lot of verticality too. You can go down deep into the
Hmm.
depths.
Yep.
You can go up into the mountains. So there's some cool verticality. So it's going to roughly double the size of the game world that you can explore, including a new city, I think, from what I could tell, because it looked like some new vendors and stuff that you can interact with. New areas, armors, factions, enemies, and weapons. They're going to deepen the game's lore. They showed a couple teasers of some of the new cutscenes. There's a long, 25-minute showcase where the developers talked about it.
I did end up watching that. Yeah,
Did you watch
I was
it?
like,
Okay.
yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna watch all this 25 minutes. I've got to be honest, I was pretty captivated through that
Dude,
whole
don't you
thing.
also tell me if you felt this way. I felt like after I watched it, I just really like those guys at that studio.
Same
Like something
here, yeah. Well, and to hear, I
Mhm.
didn't realize all that stuff was going on in the background either, of like getting bought out and not
yeah.
realizing who their boss is or where their money was coming from anymore, and having to, I don't know, annex themselves to become completely independent. Like
Yep.
I was just like, oh, you guys sound like good guys, and y'all deserve this. I'm glad
That's
y'all were
right.
able to weather all that and survive that.
And they couldn't talk about it. So like fans over the last 11 months since the game first launched in early access have been pretty brutal. I don't know if you guys knew this, but internet people can be mean.
No,
But they,
no.
Right?
yeah,
Never.
but because the developers have been pretty quiet, they've had to be pretty quiet. Fans have been like, I guess just abandon your game then. Like there's been a lot of that, like uh, radio silence from the devs. They'll just put out a little patch here and there that fixes something that's not the real issue with the game. So like they've been quietly working on it, but they just haven't been
Mhm.
able to talk about it. So basically, what Kyle was referring to is Moon Studios. They announced this game at the end of 2023 and then launched it like 4 months later in early access, which is super cool that they announced and launched that quickly. Private Division was the publisher, which was one of the publishing arms of Take Two. And then Private Division got, I think, sold or shut down, or anyway, they're gone. And so a lot of the IP started to get kind of annexed off and or sold off. In some cases, they went with the deal or whatever. But Take Two said no, but we're keeping the rights to No Rest for the Wicked. But still, with that, with Private Division going away, there was still so much red tape that just slowed everything down because it's like, who
Mhm.
really has the
Well,
rights
yeah,
to
and you
this?
can't talk about it because of NDAs and
Can't
stuff like
talk
that.
about it,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So
So
now a lot of
eventually,
people feel like they're on the hook for buying an early access game that the dev
yes,
is not being communicative about.
yes.
It's yeah,
So
I
I
can see how there's a
understand,
lot of
yeah.
worried people. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Right,
Yep.
but that's early access too.
yeah.
It's true. That's the risk you take, right? Oh, there is something
There's
cool
no
that Steam has
guarantee.
added. Steam has added a little warning to let you know, like, hey, the developer hasn't provided the news update or actual patch update on this game after whatever
Oh, sure.
9 months or whatever, which is
Yep.
nice if you go to buy a game and you're excited about it and you can just see whether or not it's dormant, which is nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But these guys have not been dormant to their credit. They have added some updates. They have patched. They have fixed it a lot. It runs so much more smoothly than it did. It was kind of janky for me at times. Things wouldn't load quite right.
Hmm.
I'd get stuck in a wall or like whatever. There was certainly its fair share of technical bugs that you see in a lot of early access games. They fixed so much of that. So I'm
Good.
excited to jump back in. But on April 30th, we get The Breach, which is a ton more content, more fixes, and that's going to be. But it is also something where you have to start from the beginning because all of the
Okay.
systems they're revamping a ton of stuff. Everything from how loot
Nice.
works to how certain classes and skills and stats work. So there's too much at its core that was revamped with this. They the idea is if you want to access new content, you have to start from the beginning. Like your old save is not going
Which
to
is
work.
just pretty common for
Yeah.
Very
early
So,
common for
access
early
games.
you
access.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's like I was saying, I was kind of wanting to do that anyway. And I assume if you bought the early access, this is just free update, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You own the game. So
Sweet.
when it all the way up till it goes to 1.0, like you own the game, which is cool. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this.
I'm gonna
They
get
already
this when
started
this
to.
update comes out. Like
You are okay.
this has been upgrade. This has been bumped up the wish
I,
list.
I
So
yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get back into it with this update, especially if you have to start over anyways. Like, I definitely
Yeah.
want to check that out.
Yep. So starting really May 1st, basically starting then you can um, grab the game and start a new run with all this new content. I'm sure it's going to also need its fair share of fixes and patches when you change a game at its core this much. There's going to be some elements that still need to be ironed out, still
Hmm.
need to be smoothed out. But they did talk about what's on the horizon for them next is a major co-op update. Up to 4 players can play co-op in this at one
that
time, which I
Heck
that
didn't
was really
realize.
cool.
yeah, that's what I want to do in this. I want to do the co-op.
That is
Yeah,
pretty
my
cool
ears
because a
perked
game
up.
like
Yeah.
this could, yeah, a game like this could use that.
Yeah,
So
no, it could be a lot of fun too. So
yeah,
I love that.
so
I like
that
the
is a
look of the
cool.
game. Like even in the
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if the early access looked exactly like this or if they made some change, but like I really liked a
Oh
lot
yeah.
like what they were
No,
showing
yeah,
for the
no, it
gameplay.
looks really good.
the art style is gorgeous, and the
Yeah.
Hmm.
monsters and the characters. I know the characters have this weird like almost ape-like look to them with their long arms and
Right. Yeah,
stuff.
their
Yeah, there's some
arms are too long
accentuated
or whatever,
appendages.
but
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
But
but it
no,
kind of
I dig.
works too.
I don't know.
Uh,
I like Moon Studios art. I mean,
Me too.
Ori was gorgeous looking games. I think
Ugh.
this is no exception. It
Or he's
looks
like
amazing.
$3 on the Steam sale right now, so
Yeah,
you haven't
yeah. You
played
can
it.
get both Ori
Grab that if
games
you
for
don't
like
have it.
yeah, you can get both Ori games for I think like 10, $11 or something, and the first one I think is like 3, like you said. That's crazy.
Mhm.
By the way, speaking of Ori, Daniel, appreciate this for sure. Since you just brought it up, how much you love those games. Gareth Coker, the series composer of both Ori games, beautiful music, amazing music.
Absolutely.
But they finally got him on board. They finally were able to get him to essentially because
Oh,
he wasn't able to do it, but he's on and he's going to be adding an entire score for this game. It doesn't exist right now. If you
heck
play it now,
yeah.
it's there is some music, and it's fine, but
Hmm.
it doesn't stand out. And while you're exploring, it's
Right.
also a lot of ambient sounds with just the fight sounds. It's not, but they showed
Right.
in that update in that showcase, you could hear music the whole time, and
Oh,
then they cut to a spot where Gareth Coker talks about it, and then you can hear the music while you're exploring. I'm like, dude, this is so good.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So
All right.
nice
Well, that
addition.
that excites me even more. Heck yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm pretty pumped for that one. So yeah, no rest for the wicked. Still looking really optimistic. I was a little nervous about that when publisher stuff starts a rumbling, but they're fully
Right. Right.
independent
You never
now.
know
They're
what's
gonna
gonna
publish
happen.
it themselves, which is
They
super
gotta love.
cool.
They're gonna man having that kind of autonomy is got to be
Yep.
like the want of every dev in the business, but not everyone gets
I,
No
that. So good
doubt.
for them.
and it's hard to criticize any of them because you when you get a publisher with a bank, it's like, well, guys, we can finally hire this
Right? Yeah, they're
role that
writing
we
checks.
needed, or yeah, we can finally get this tool set we needed to do these things we want to do. So I totally get it, but I'm glad they're independent. All right, so a rumor. I mean, we already know that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PS5, but a rumor is that because of some listing that I think it was in France or somewhere. Anyway, some international listing for the game at a store was, as you guys know, posted then pulled as quick as they could, but it was too late. And so someone saw it, said April
AKA how
17th.
every leak happens. Yeah.
April
How
17th.
every league has
Yeah.
looks like April 17th. And if that's not the date, okay, but that seems to be pretty legitimate. So
Yeah.
that is likely the launch date of Indiana Jones on the PS5. Which, by the way, I just finished it a couple weeks ago. They finally released the patch,
Nice.
which, by the way,
Yep.
instantly fixed my issue because like
Oh,
I
that's
had the same.
good to hear. I heard about your issue, and that just sounded like just
It was
such a
awful.
bummer,
Hurts.
man.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was literally 45 minutes from the end of the game. Jeff thought I
oh,
might be
that
a couple
sucks, dude.
hours from the end, but when I played, I fired it up, got through that part, and the credits were rolling within 45 minutes. I was like, I was
Oh
so
man.
close to the end. Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's exactly what they said. There was something with, me fast traveling before a certain mission had completed or something. There was something that I did that a lot of other folks also did because you want to go around and
Like
collect the things you want to collect before the last mission. So that's what I was trying to do.
right.
And I came back and then certain interactive things weren't interactive and I just kind of brushed them off like I'm sure that's fine. Maybe that ladder is just bugged. That's no big deal. But then it became like, oh, I can't get through this area. Okay, maybe I can hop up. Okay, I can hop up. That kind of worked. And then I got totally stuck. There's one cave with one little shimmy spot that you have to be able, and it wasn't working. So this
Mhm.
time I walked over to it,
Sure.
started, and it just shimmied right away, scooted me right
Oh,
through there.
that feels so good finally for
It
that to
was
work.
such a good
Oh,
feeling. Yeah, yeah.
oh,
So,
good,
but
good deal, man. No, I haven't. I got a lot of that game left to play, and nowhere near the end of it. But I've really enjoyed everything that I played so far, and the
oh,
set pieces
it's
on that game
so
are
good.
just amazing. Yeah, it's
And
fun
also,
and good. Good. Now it's coming to PS5, and a lot more
yep,
people will play it. Hopefully.
yep.
Yeah, I hope so.
And
I hope it sells really well.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm still in awe
Yeah.
of Troy
No kidding.
Baker's performance as
Oh my
Harrison
God,
Ford.
right? He did such a good job of Harrison Ford. Like it is shocking.
Yeah.
Like oh, he was very impressive. So I was a little skeptical at first. I was just gonna sound like Troy
I feel like a
Baker
lot a
doing
lot
an
of people were
impersonation the whole
felt
time.
skeptical. I did as
Yeah,
well.
and
I
I mean
feel like a lot of
he's a
people
great
had this
voice
like
actor, but
yeah. I think you were. I think there were. I had plenty of conversations where it's like I can hear Troy Baker in that accent anytime like the trailer came out, and like I never
Yeah.
thought about it once. Once I was actually playing the
Uh-uh.
mhm.
game. So
Yeah, he
I don't know.
didn't like say kiddo or anything at any point. You know what I mean? Like that didn't
Yeah,
happen.
baby, like right in the middle of it, baby girl. Like it's just like oh,
Yeah.
that's
Like, wait a
Joel. What are you
second,
talking about?
Joel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Speaking of which, I am so excited for The Last of Us next season, which is I think just 1 month away. I think
Yeah.
April
is
18th, I believe, or somewhere around there. It's like the middle of April.
yeah, dude, that is super exciting. So with that in mind, I thought I'd share this with you guys. Let me pull this up here. They just announced this Last of Us DualSense controller that they're going
Oh,
to be
cool.
launching,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which
I
does
saw
have a
that.
really cool style to it. I think it looks nice. Coming out on just I think next month. So pretty much coinciding with the next season of the show. While Last of Us
Yeah.
is on people's minds,
Right on.
people
Yep.
will be diving back into the games again or playing them for the first time. So look at that. That's a pretty snazzy controller. I like that. Looks nice.
Yeah. No, I like the
Um,
tones of it and everything, and all the symbols
hmm
in the black. It looks pretty good there. It's
Yeah,
sharp.
I'm into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think it looks pretty good. So, so yeah, Last of Us next month. Hey, we talked about Split Fiction already a little bit, but I just wanted to give its flowers a little bit because, and it's earned them. First 48 hours, it sold over 1 million copies, which is a lot of copies to
Nice.
sell.
That's pretty good. Heck yeah.
Because they
Good for them.
they think roughly probably in the 1.5 to 2 million range of people have played it. That's because you can invite a friend to play it for free, right? So if you've got
Yeah, right.
1 million copies sold, some of them might be playing with each other, but for the most part, that there's someone playing it for free with someone who bought it. So
It just
Right.
feels nice that like a developer would be like, we're willing to cannibalize half of our sales,
yeah,
quote
uh
unquote.
huh,
But
Just so
I
people
think it's a
play
good
this game
thing.
and have fun.
yep,
Right. I mean, they want to encourage it. I mean, like people like
Yeah.
me that might be a little more skeptical, like, I don't want to spend $50 and then be like, wishy-washy. Am I going to have anybody to play this with? Well, they'll make
Yeah,
sure that
and you
you can
don't want
hook
to
up
play
with
it
a
with like
friend. And
strangers. Yeah, like
hmm
that's a
no,
game.
yep.
Yeah,
And
that's
I don't even
not
think
a
that's an
stranger danger
option,
game.
is it?
I don't know actually.
I
You
don't
might be
know.
right. Maybe you have to
I,
invite
I've
I,
somebody.
only
I
played it
think, I
local.
think you have to.
I
Yeah,
think
I
you
think
have
you
to
have
have
to
a
link
friend.
up
I think
with
you're right.
somebody. I don't think there's you can't do randos in it. No.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
Which
Okay.
Yeah, that's not
I
a
think's
big.
cool, and they give you an avenue to do that with your friends, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
good on them. But like you say, it does kind of cannibalize 50% of their sales potentially,
Hmm.
Yeah, but
but it sells.
they have so much money. They sold 20 million copies of It Takes Two. I didn't realize they sold that many.
Oh man,
I didn't realize
and
that
what was
either.
that? That was
Wow.
probably like a $40 game.
Yeah, it's around the same
20
price.
million copies? Like, I
Wow.
wonder at what point in that they kind of like started to make money back. I wonder at what
Yeah,
point that
I
was.
wonder
Was
how
that
many of
at
those were after it won the Game Awards too, or
So
did
yeah,
it
so
sell?
It Takes Two took a month to hit 1 million copies sold. Split Fiction took 48 hours. So it's
Wow.
of
Oh
course
wow, that's a
selling
big
way
uptick.
faster.
So it is
Now
on an
Yep.
expedited pace. Yeah.
I do think that It Takes Two likely started to hit in waves. Whether it was Game Awards or other any other Game of the Year love it started to get, and of course as reviews were coming out or maybe it hit sales. So I'm sure that other factors increased its lifespan in terms of selling copies. That being said, 20 million is insanely impressive. I mean,
It's
we're talking
incredible.
about like a major Nintendo IP levels of sales right there.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a lot. It puts it into perspective too when you think about we talked about like Alan Wake 2 hitting 2 million copies and it's like, yeah, we finally are making
Yeah.
money and it's like, dude.
Right. And games like Final Fantasy wish they were selling 20 million copies, and in fact,
Uh
kind of have to sell 20 million copies to make their budget back, and still
that's
don't.
right.
Right.
And but you think as like Final Fantasy is like a super popular, way more popular than It Takes Two, right? We all know what Final
Yeah.
Fantasy is, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
it is just selling the 20 million units is incredible. Like I think people dream of making that, those kind of
Yeah.
Right.
numbers.
Well, like especially with the budget that probably game had, I mean, it's a
Which is
fraction of something like Final Fantasy. So
absolutely,
I mean, that's
yeah.
a huge W for those guys,
Yeah, it's awesome. The little dev that could.
The little the
right?
little dev that could. That's right.
All you had to do is just go on the Game Awards, start dropping F bombs, and
Yeah,
everybody
just drop
took
a couple F
notice.
bombs, be super charismatic, be super
Yeah.
French, and
But
boom, we're all
Be
in. We're all
everybody
super
eating out of
remembers
it.
them now.
We're eating out of his hand
You,
now, or
yeah, you
Italian?
don't
Was he
forget
Italian?
them.
I don't
Uh-huh.
No, I
Very,
French or
very
something.
true.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he's French. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? It's not American, I'll tell you
He's probably not at a mega.
that.
Well, listen guys, the week of Kyle trailers continues here because we got an incredible trailer for Death Stranding 2. So first, I'm going to show you this actually, that's the pre-order trailer. I thought I added the special edition one. Maybe I forgot to add that to this playlist. But whatever, we'll leave this on. The special edition has a whole bunch of stuff, including like a letter from Kojima. I guess you get
Yeah,
in
your best
that
friends,
package.
Dan. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you
I
get to be
like
pen
it.
Yeah,
pals.
your best friends
Sweet.
with Kojima.
You get to be pen pals. So anyway, this we got a really this is a long trailer. So even while we talk about it, there's no way we'll get to all of it. Um,
Yeah,
but it looks super intense, super realistic. Lots of crazy stuff happening. You even have the
incredibly
baby
surreal.
carrier,
Just so
baby
surreal.
Yeah,
carrier in
yeah.
the front. Yeah.
Surrealism, the video game.
Uh huh. Yep. It's a fever dream, and it's awesome.
Mm.
And but we also surprisingly got a release date. Did you expect to see a release date on
Oh,
this thing?
I heard many rumors this game was not in trouble, but like delayed because of the SAG strikes or whatever, the voice actor strikes that are
Sure.
going on.
Yep.
Because like this game, let's just call it what it is. It's a purposely pretentious art movie, is what Death
hmm
Stranding and Death Stranding 2 is.
That's
And,
exactly what
but
it
that
feels like.
that requires voice acting and actors,
Yeah,
to make it come to life. And if you don't
including Troy
have that,
Baker.
including Troy Baker. So if you don't have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
element, like this game's in trouble. Like you're not going to launch this game with with like text boxes coming up, like telling the story. No, you
True.
have to have voice actors and stuff like that. So no, I was shocked to hear because it doesn't seem like that
June.
that voice acting
Well, yeah,
is
I was
happening.
shocked to see it was so soon. I was honestly thinking this might hit like later in the fall or something like that, but to get it this
If
summer,
at
I mean,
all, yeah, quarter four or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I thought it might say winter, and then we don't even know if that means 2026. You know what I mean?
right.
Like I thought they might.
I love the wiggle room that word
Yeah,
provides.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
honestly had no idea it was that close, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so you can pre-order it as of this coming week. And Kyle, you were talking about this. This is the
There it
statue you're
is
talking about.
with the not Metal
Um,
Gear Rex on his head.
bunch of
Yeah.
yeah, a bunch of in-game items here down here at the. I know the bar, the red bar is kind of blocking it, but letter from Hideo Kojima right there. Art
Got his
cards.
nice headshot there.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that is happening. That is a major summer
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah,
deal.
it is.
The big thing that everyone's taking from this is, and I've had friends reach out to me. It's like, how do they have Solid Snake in this game? Because people just don't understand, how
Oh,
licensing works like
yeah.
that. I'm like, no, no, no. This is
Uh,
sue-proof metal, Solid Snake. It's what's cool about this actor though is Kojima said that in like 2019 that this actor that who's playing this character in this game would be his choice for live action Solid Snake because like their facial features are similar, like everything's similar. Like he would be the closest like looking
right.
or whatever. So they got him bandanaed up in this trailer, and I mean it just set the whole internet on fire in certain corners. This game is going to be steeping with tons and tons and tons of like Kojima trying to tell his audience, like I think there's going to be some symbolism going on here. Like, but people's
Ah,
biggest complaint with Death Stranding was that there wasn't enough action. This game obviously has a lot more action in it, so I think there's going to be a lot of commentary on being dragged back to like past ideas to to appease audiences and stuff like that. And I don't think that he's folding at all. I mean, Kojima's a guy who marches to his own drum or whatever, to the beat of his own drum,
true.
and I think it's going to be wacky and weird and crazy. And I don't know. I feel I don't know who this game is for outside of Kojima fans, but Death Stranding sold really well and had a really good reception. So shocking to me. It's absolutely shocking to me because it is a
Yeah.
pretentious art movie. I mean, that's what it is. And I
But
can see how
and
that
but
turns
not
people off.
but it's still so compelling. Like I didn't get super far
Yeah.
into the game, like, but it's very compelling visually, and also
hmm
I have no idea what's happening or who's
Oh,
doing
the
what and
story
why.
is just bonkers
Yeah, it's
in the
absolutely
beginning
bonkers.
hours of that game. Like, I've never gotten too far into it. I'm maybe like 15 hours into that game. But after I did watch that trailer, I had to fire it up last week. So
Oh,
Oh, did
did
nice.
you?
play a
Heck
little.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was
hope
just
it
like,
does
oh,
get a
let's
little
get
bit of
back in.
fun.
Yeah, I did a few side missions, still pretty early in the game, but yeah, I had to hop back in. It took me a minute to kind of get my bearings again, as most Kojima games. The
Left,
only
right,
other one
left,
of his I
buddy.
ever really Yeah, the only other one I've ever really played is Metal Gear Solid 5. So,
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
but yeah, when you get comfortable, like the systems are great in his games. So
Kojima games are
I got to play more
like
of it.
mechanically obtuse. Like even Metal Gear Solid 5,
Yeah.
which plays like a dream. Like it takes
Oh my God,
you have
but
to
like what?
you
Yeah,
kind of have to know what you're doing, to pull
yeah,
off some
you
cooler.
got to earn it a little bit, but
You
like
gotta
when you
earn it a
figure
little bit.
out like the mechanics and like just the controls, because it just feels foreign almost at first,
Well,
but
there's no
it
game. There's
works
not a
so
lot of
well.
games out there where you're like walking around with big packs on your back, and that like changes the way
Yeah,
you interact with the
right.
environment. So it's like, yeah, it's wacky. Again, it does seem like there's like a whole motorcycle sequence and like combat motorcycle sequence in this trailer. There's all this wacky stuff going on. This is gonna be more than you like walk. Even though it pisses me off so much when people say, "Hey, you just walk from place to place in Death Stranding." I'm like, you do a lot of things in that game. You do a lot of
Hmm.
walking too. That is a
Yeah.
half
Yep.
is more than a half true statement. But that game gets bigger and crazier and more social
Yeah, I mean,
as it
like,
goes
yeah,
on.
there's just
So
a ton of stuff going on in that game outside
yeah,
of the traveling from A to B, and even that
yeah.
is there's a lot going on in that.
There weirdly for just again walking from one, so there's a lot of mechanics happening
Right.
for just something that
Yeah, yeah.
ostensibly you're just pushing forward and hoping for the best. So,
Also,
but yeah,
what
I'm
a
excited.
crazy cast! Like the cast
Yeah,
is
yeah.
insane.
Right.
It's insane in both of these games, and the fact that he just doubled down on more stars, and that he's like weirdly popular in Hollywood. Like people are
I
calling
know.
him. Like Timothy
Yeah.
Chalamet was like, "I want to be in your game." I'm like, "You're the most famous person on earth right now. Like,
Yeah.
what do you bet? You don't have to call and beg anybody. But yeah, Kojima gets all these
Right.
calls from everybody. It's wacky. The
I know.
referencing.
I always see somebody new in his studio, and it's just like
I
it's
know.
crazy the
You know when
connections
he's
that
hugging
guy
someone in
has.
the studio or shaking their hands, you're like, he's gonna be in a game. He's about to pop up in
Yeah.
Death
Yep.
Stranding for sure.
Well, aren't him and
Yeah,
Jordan Peele doing something
they're
together?
doing something together. Yeah,
Yeah. 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 They
I
have
remember they
some
showed
type
up and
of
said
new
we're doing
project.
something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
wasn't it something that transcends movies and games? Supposed to be
Yeah,
something
there was a
new.
lot of buzzwords there
Yeah.
for sure. Got me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna
Honest
be
Talk
it's
Buzzwords.
Hero
gonna be a
got me excited. Yeah, I like both of those
it's gonna
guys.
be a
So
I don't know.
free to
All they
play
showed was like
mobile
people, right?
VR.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I don't know.
They just showed people. You're right, but in my head I'm
Yeah.
like, this is
Yeah.
gonna be some kind of
Oh,
VR free to
yeah.
play
This is
social
something
media
different than
mobile.
OD because you had OD, which is
Yep.
like his Xbox project. He's got like three
Yeah.
games
Isn't
he's
that like
working
a
on right
horror
now.
game or something?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a horror
He's a
adjacent.
busy
Yeah,
guy.
he
Yep.
is. Yeah,
Man,
good
yeah.
trailer though. It's 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Again,
It's
Yeah.
a
No,
lot.
that's a beefy trailer, beefy
you got
look and release date.
they
Like that's the way to do it.
Kojima reached out to Woodkid, who did all the Assassin's Creed trailer, all the songs like Iron for Assassin's
Okay.
Creed, all the songs that everyone really likes. And tap that guy. He wrote that song Into the Wild or Into the Wilderness or whatever the song is called for this game. So
Nice.
that is a completely new song from that guy that's created for. This is what Kojima did with Death Stranding last year as well. I think he
Hmm.
tapped like churches and low roar and stuff like that to like make songs for his game, or at least use a lot of their catalog. So pretty cool. Yeah, I really excited for this. I mean, like again, this game is just wacky, and like the first you said you played like 15 hours, Dan. The last
Yeah.
15 hours of
Yeah.
the game is insane. Like it is.
Okay.
I had to like get on the message boards to like make sense of it all because it's just like it's too crazy.
You're like, someone
Okay.
explains to me, like I'm
Yeah,
five.
please. Someone way smarter than
No,
me tell me what's going on here. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that was like kind of the last half of Metal Gear Solid 5. I kind of had to
Yeah.
look up a little bit and try to
Kojima does like
process what
to
I was experiencing.
Kojima does like to add a lot of layers to his complex messages. And again,
Hmm.
like I know it's not everybody's vibe. I get it. But boy, this wacky, weird stuff is so me, and I'm very excited for all this weird. Like, look at how weird all this is. Just
This is
weird
so
stuff
Right.
going
weird.
on.
No, it is just,
Yeah.
it's so weird.
Was her
Exciting.
hand backwards?
Probably.
Hang on.
I guess I didn't catch that.
You said probably.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's
Yeah,
backwards.
it is backwards.
Yes,
Yep,
Why is her hand? She has two of the same. I don't know,
because
guys. I don't.
Kojima. That's why.
because Kojima.
Yeah. Why is
Because
there
why
like a
not?
little like dummy doll who's like rendered in like 12 frames per second, like talking to you in this trailer as well? Or all the trailers
Right?
so far.
Well, they did. They
Um,
introduced the whole cast, and then they got to him and it just said Charlie. It didn't say like the actor's name or anything. It just
Hmm.
said Charlie. So it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, Elle Fanning. Yeah,
Yep.
man.
That's George
Yeah,
This
no,
Miller,
is
the guy
what a
who created Mad
cast,
Max.
man. Holy cow. What a cast.
yeah, this is pretty wild. All right, well, Death Stranding 2 is happening. That is a yet another marquee release for us to look forward to here in 2025. Confirmed. Like if you would have told me that might come out this year, I'd be like, it's getting delayed. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Like, but now it's June 26th, man.
Yeah, I
Somebody
honestly
said
thought we'd get like, 5 more CGI trailers before we'd get a
that's
release
how.
date. So
Yeah, that's how what he does, right? I mean, that's Kojima's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna put out 4 10-minute trailers over the course of like 4
yeah,
years, and like we've gotten like
Yeah.
2 or 3
yep.
with this game. It's not very many, you know.
No,
No.
no, it
The
doesn't feel like
turnaround
it.
was
Feels like
quick.
I've seen this game like, yeah, like twice before, and then the release date. So I don't know.
Kojima
I like it.
loves to take his time, and he turned Death Stranding 1 and 2 around like in 3 or 4 years, each.
That's
That's
Right.
pretty
impressive.
great. Whereas like there were usually 8 years in between Metal Gear Solid, sequels sometimes. So I guess a
Probably
lot
just
shorter than that.
Konami
More like
getting in the way.
maybe more like 5 or 6. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely Konami getting in the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to see him churning out stuff really quickly. So makes me hopeful
Yeah.
that the
yeah,
other
no
things
kidding.
he's talking about is coming out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. All right, guys. Well, I thought we could, before we wrap up with just kind of anything else you're playing or watching that you might want to highlight, I thought we'd take a little stroll down gaming nostalgia lane. You guys, when you were kids, watched your fair share of TV, right? Saturday morning cartoons, after school
Yeah,
shows, and
absolute
such.
metric ton of it. You bet.
So you were part of the target audience for stuff like this.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. This would have been at me.
Look
I
at
mean,
this.
I even love
I
the
don't know if I
voiceover.
ever played this.
Dude, the pixel
Yeah,
art's
the
great in this
voiceover is
game.
very good.
The pixel art's great in this
Yeah,
game too. Yeah.
no, it really is.
Bonk's Adventure.
I like how they show all
Huh?
the cases for all their games too.
Yeah.
So we've got a. I don't know what most of these are. Mario 3.
I
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
this.
I do
Yep.
remember this too. Yeah.
I don't remember this one.
Yeah. Oh
Good
yeah.
transition.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It is.
The
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
the whole
Mario
world.
Nation.
The whole United States, which is
In-
basically the whole world.
It is the whole
True.
world. Yeah.
Yep.
And including Canada since that's part of the US now, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of Japanese ones too, Japanese
Oh,
commercials too.
fun.
Here,
I've
I'll
never
skip it.
seen
There's
that.
so
Yeah.
many on this. This is a great playlist, by the way, by Michael Giorgio on YouTube. Put together like 600 plus of these. So I'm just gonna pick out a few. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna scroll down. You guys can see the playlist too, and we can look to see which, if any of these jump out. Like Dr. Mario. Oh my gosh, you can't show this
Oh,
anymore.
I love the Dr. Mario commercials.
Oh my god, I totally remember this commercial.
I do totally remember this commercial too. And it launched on
Wow.
NES and Game Boy, I think, at the same time, which was
Yeah.
like wild. I had both versions.
Why? What's wrong with this? We can't do this.
He said, "What's wrong with this?"
Oh, that's great,
That's
Nintendo.
awesome.
Nice
But like,
job.
but think about like what Dr. Mario is. That the theme of that commercial doesn't even make sense to me. And
No.
No,
what
it
am I
doesn't
missing?
fit it at all.
He's a witch doctor.
Doctor
He's a witch
and
doctor. Yeah.
doc. Yeah.
And it's
Where
it's
I
magic.
don't know
I
any
don't
more
know.
connection than that.
But they both share the word doctor. Like that's the connection, I guess.
Yep. That's about it.
Hey, real quick, let's just appreciate the lightning opening of this. I've always loved this when I was a
Yes.
kid.
Yeah.
I
That's
did
cool.
love that. Yeah, that is great. Oh,
Look at this.
Super Mario World.
probably, yeah. I mean, it's so hard for me to pick between this and 64, but definitely one of my all-time favorite Mario games.
This game's
Me
great,
too,
man.
man. I'm right there with you. So much nostalgia with this one.
Yeah.
Look at that Super Nintendo.
I mean,
Ugh.
yeah, 3
The
blew
form
my mind,
factor.
but Mario World was something else.
Listen, even just seeing all these cases, just fills my heart with joy. Like something about
Yeah.
the
Oh,
boxes
so
even.
I can
much.
smell them. I
Yes.
can smell the cases. I can smell them from here.
Ah.
It's so good. It's so good. All right, let's see what else
F-Zero.
we got. All right,
F-Zero.
let's
Yes.
look at F-Zero.
Oh, I loved F-Zero.
Nintendo, come on.
Come
Like, we
on,
need to make more of
Nintendo.
these. Like, what are we doing here?
Look at the guy getting flattened into his seat. I like how everything in the 90s was also extreme. Make it all extreme. Everything's
Yeah,
got
Yeah.
to be.
it is. Yeah.
Well, they were trying to
Yeah.
compete with Sega probably at this point, you know.
Sega did like come in with a very cool guy persona that Nintendo had to
Yeah,
figure
they
out in some
did.
way to combat.
They were the teenage crowd, you know.
Yeah,
Nintendo had to
Oh
grow
yeah.
up a little.
angsty and
Yeah, they had to be a little more edgy, you know, when they got
yeah,
Super Nintendo. Oh my God, I love how 90s everything is.
dude. Let's bring
Oh,
those
I
Game
remember
vests
the.
back, guys. Should we bring vests back and sweaters tied around our waist? We should bring that
I
back,
like
right?
that. Game Genie is like the sole reason I saw the ending of a lot of NES games. I
Yeah.
was never good enough
Yeah.
to. I mean, NES games were so hard. I never saw more than like the first couple worlds of most of them.
Yep.
I love how
You know what's
there were
funny is
commercials
when
for
you.
cheating back in the day.
I know.
That's my
I know.
favorite
Yeah,
thing.
that you
But
Yeah.
you
had to
know.
pay to cheat.
It's my favorite
But
thing.
what it is, I mean, Game Genie is what modding is now. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
Yes,
just.
basically
it is.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. It's
Game
just
Shark,
modding
Game
games.
Genie, all that stuff was
Yep,
just
It's
just
like
give you infinite
we've
invincibility.
selected mods for you for specific games, and here you go. You
and
just
like
don't get to
9
pick
out
them.
of 10 times they would corrupt your save. You know what I mean? Like just like
Oh
mods.
yeah.
Like it's the same thing.
Do you
Oh yeah.
remember? Like I remember on the NES one, that was really the only one I ever had, but it came with like a booklet that listed all the games that were available
Oh
for Nintendo at the
yes,
time that
I
had
know
codes.
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
And you had to input you know, like, and then it'd give you like 20 cheat codes for that game, like
Yep.
invincibility, you know,
Hmm.
extra lives, whatever. And then you had to input like a 15-digit code or something like that in the Game Genie menu. Yeah, totally obtuse, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah. But we all figured it out. That's the other thing. Like
Yeah.
this is like, like right around when proto internet, if it's
Yeah,
1990, but
this would have
like
been like early 90s,
you
like,
just
you
had to
know,
like
probably
you had
like
to have like
91.
a nerdy friend at school that like somehow knew how to do it,
That's right.
to tell you how to do some of this stuff. Unless you were
Well,
the nerdy friend, it may have been you.
I also kind of miss the
Right, it
days of
was
like
me.
real console wars. You know, like when companies would really dislike each other
Yeah.
and
Oh my God, yeah, and they'd go after and take
Real
shots at each other in their
real
so like
commercials.
unhealthy competition.
this is a Game Gear.
Yes,
This is a Game
yes.
Gear commercial. So Game Gear was going after the Game
Throw away
Boy
your
Game
I
by
Boy.
love
showing
this.
Yep.
you ways you can use it.
But you
Um,
this
Yeah,
is
you can use it to
so
spread your
rude.
cheese on your crackers.
Yeah,
I had
right.
a Game Gear. They were fun.
I had a buddy had a
yeah,
Game Gear, yeah.
they just took
Took-
6 batteries.
Which she
Yeah,
was
they
suntanning
took
with.
like two or four more batteries than a Game Boy. I mean, they took a
The
lot of
Game
batteries.
Boy was 4, which was a lot. Now the Game Boy Color I think went down to 2, which was a huge deal.
Yeah.
But the Game Gear was 6, and that was a deal breaker for real.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
6. You're right. The Game Boy Color did go down to 2. I did just
All
pick
right,
up an actual Game Boy too, and that is
let's
4
look at some Street
batteries.
Fighter. This is
Oh,
where Street Fighter takes a shot at Mortal Kombat right here, because Blanca's hand comes out and squishes the Mortal Kombat case.
wait, like punching down on this one? One of the Street Fighter's always
Look,
been more popular.
he
That's
Right.
funny.
smashes Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat.
that's funny.
It is
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
I always thought Street Fighter was the premier. You know, I mean, it always
dude,
seemed
Street
like
Yeah.
Fighter
that was
2
popular
was the
first.
best.
Oh,
I loved Street Fighter 2.
yep.
Yeah, that was
No,
really
that
good.
was so much fun.
That was a
Look at this
Japanese
guy.
version of it. All right, here's the U.S. commercial for it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Again, almost like early versions of memes. You know what I mean? Like the way that they're
Yeah,
using
that's
this.
kind of
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Hey, human
we
against
took all
games.
this stuff, like from our psyche, and once the internet was alive, we started creating like ridiculous art to kind of coincide the stuff that we grew up with, and that's why we have such wacky, I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
like picture-based commentary on stuff.
Right. Oh, that's funny. That makes
I
sense.
mean, is that Andy Dick?
I
It
I
looks
know it
like
was a
it.
guy. It was a man
I'm
dressed as a
pretty-
lady.
I'm
I
pretty
know
sure that's
that.
Andy Dick. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
You
it
couldn't
could be, honestly.
Another thing you couldn't do today: put Andy Dick in anything. So.
Final Fantasy IV commercial. This can't be
I
right.
don't remember many Final Fantasy. I remember the Final Fantasy VII commercial, but
I remember.
I don't remember any of the other ones.
What?
Remember the 10
Was that
That
commercial
was
pretty
nothing.
vividly?
that can't have been a
Which one?
real Japanese commercial?
Final Fantasy 10, I remember the commercial because they played that like commercial, that and Kingdom Hearts all the time
I
on
remember the
G4.
Kingdom Hearts one. I don't remember the 10 one.
Um, it always showed
Metroid
like
2.
Cloud like sliding down the rails or whatever on the way to like save Yuna from
Oh,
like the wedding. Like
yeah, yeah.
that's the
Oh,
one scene they always showed in like every commercial because they were like, look at the graphics on this. Kingdom Hearts as well. They
which
played a little of that
which
simple and clean
Metroid
in.
is this? Is this Metroid
This
2?
is Metroid 2, yeah.
So I
Okay.
just started playing this on the Switch. What is
Like
it? The Virtual
online.
Console? Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
online or whatever. Yeah, I just started playing Metroid 2, and honestly, like playing it on the Switch is like superb. Like that is a great way to play a Game Boy game. It is like completely playable and
Yep.
a million
That's
times
awesome.
better than it
I've
was like on a Game
I've
Boy.
used some of those online games. It's pretty fun. They did a good job with that.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
like
Yeah.
honestly, like playing some of those old Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, like they're so good. And
Yeah.
if you get them
Yeah.
on like better hardware, running better, looking better, I mean, they're still like that green gray, like a lot of them or
Yep.
whatever, but like they
Yep.
look so much better on a
Did they
Switch.
ever add the Golden Sun games? I'd love to revisit those. I love the Golden
I don't
Sun games.
remember. I
I
don't
think they
think they
did add
did.
those. You don't think?
Did
Okay,
Did
they?
they add 'em?
I thought they might have. I could be wrong though.
I can't remember because those were all
Well,
Game
this
Boy Color games, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
commercial for Link to the Past, believe it or
Or
not.
Advance, Game Boy Advance
What?
even, I think.
I don't remember Link to the Past commercials. Oh,
This
actually, I
kind
do
of
kind
rings
of
a
remember
bell. Yeah,
this.
this
It
this rings
does
a
look
bell.
vaguely
Yeah.
familiar.
I love the live action approach. Like the game itself was one of the most beautiful games at the time, but they were like,
Yes.
don't show any of the game, just show
I
a
know.
weird
There
live
was like none
action
of the game
sequence.
there, and it was beautifully pixelated. I mean, that game was perfect. That
Absolutely.
game I probably did run up about $100 tab on a Nintendo Power Hotline. You could call back in the day, get hints. Like I had to hundred
What is that?
percent
Hint
it, and
hotline? That's awesome.
yeah, I had like a month when my mom got the phone bill that kind of put a stop to that. But I
Uh-huh.
did get the game completed, so it was worth it.
That was the early
Nice.
microtransaction where like kids were stealing credit
Yes.
cards and overspending on.
Yeah, it was called.
The
How do you get
bill
the
would come in.
invisibility cloak? Like, where do you go? Like,
Shining Force.
Wow, nice.
nice.
Again, the live action stuff just kills me.
Hmm.
It's
I know
so
they did a
funny.
lot of that.
Kirby's Dream Land. I mean, it's so weirdly animated. You know what I mean?
It is, and it's odd the tone they took for this. It's like, hey, it's just a kiddie thing. It's not a big muscle or like
Right.
let's just downplay that right out. Like that's gonna be what you criticize it for. But like honestly, Kirby's Dream Land was like a hell of a lot of fun.
It was. Yeah. Oh man. Let's do a couple more of these. Wolfenstein on CNN. What is this? Oh boy.
The shiny.
This is awesome.
I, I
It's
love
like,
the
have you
intro
heard
to
of
the
video games?
Wolfenstein 3D.
It's texture map. It's Wolfenstein, one of the hottest selling computer games in the world.
I love it.
In which BJ Blazkowicz storms a Nazi bunker in search of Adolf Hitler.
And hey
A
guys,
real
can I
true
just say,
weirdo.
the BJ Blazkowicz story never really changed after that. Many games later,
No,
same
that
thing.
that is
Yeah.
what
No,
he is. He's a Nazi
That's
killing
that's what he
machine.
does. He
story.
storms Nazi encampments.
I gotta tell you though, I remember when I first saw Wolfenstein, it was like life changing stuff.
The
I
Oh
same
thought it
God,
was
here.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just remember not being like, what do you mean it's 3D? Like I just couldn't
yeah.
like I didn't know how to
And
like comprehend it.
that was prior to Doom, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Wolfenstein
'Cause
was first.
I always have a hard time separating the two. I always remember
Same,
them
yeah.
both
I
around the
mean, because
same
they all,
time.
both have like the guy in the bottom, who
Yep.
like gets more beat up. Like there's like just very similar, obviously. But yeah, it's I bet Wolfenstein when my buddy showed it me for the first time on his PC. I just remember not being able to this is so amazing. Like I didn't know you could do this. I
Yeah.
thought
Right.
everything had to be like
Yeah.
Yeah.
side scrolling. I thought everything
Right.
was
Right.
2D.
Yeah. Which one
Well,
is
in
this? Is it
case
Mario Kart?
so, this is Mario Kart, but in case anyone thinks that it's only an issue with modern developers to show a version of a trailer that the game doesn't match up to, that's Not the case. That happened way more back in the day. Look at this Mario Kart trailer. You don't see what the game looks like at all. It it
Oh
looks
my
like
It's
it's
God, they
hilarious when
don't.
cool.
you buy it, you're like, hey, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
because look how this looks really cool. Like if it's animated like this, or even like that with the stompers. Nope,
It's
none of
true,
that.
you know. When people always complain about, it's like, oh, I just don't like CG trailers. I was like, well, we could have all live action trailers like we used to have back in the day.
Yeah,
You know, so
or
they're
animated
goofy
in
and
a
loud
style
and or animated
animated in a
That's
style that's
completely
not even
different than the
close.
game.
yeah. Like you said, not really a
Not
new
even
tack on
I,
close.
it.
I love how much they show other stuff in none of these games. Like there's not
Yeah,
one screen of gameplay in some of them.
I
Oh,
remember. I
Mortal
also
Kombat
showed
2
they
changed my
re
life,
they
dude.
they
I love
remade this
that.
trailer too. Whenever like the newest Mortal Kombat came out, they
All right,
recreated it.
on. Was
I
this
do
the
love everyone
first
just
one?
yelling it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is the first one.
Yeah, I remember it. I had it on Game Gear and Genesis and Super Nintendo.
I like
love
how they're
Mortal
showing
Kombat.
riots in the streets for it.
All right.
Yeah,
Acclaim.
Cla- classic. September
Oh,
13th.
good
Can't
old
wait.
Acclaim.
Acclaim. Hey, they're coming back.
They're coming back.
Yeah,
Which is
I
kind of
heard.
weird.
That's wild.
What IP
Oh
are they gonna
gosh.
grab first?
And oddly enough, isn't there like a new Turok game in development too?
There is,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I bet they're like
Like
halving
it's
it.
Yeah,
it's a
I
third
know it's not
person.
not associated with the Acclaim. It's just funny that
No,
Turok and Acclaim
Yep.
both
I
coming
think
back.
Disney owns the Turok license, if I'm not mistaken, which is
Yeah, I
weird to
don't
think
know
about.
about that. It looks weird, but isn't it a co-op type thing, right?
I think it's definitely a new take
Could
on the
be.
thing.
But
Yeah,
yeah, the
Yeah.
third person is a huge shift for that series.
huge shift. Yeah, to
Oh,
third person.
right, right.
This is where we first meet Wario. Was
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Mario Land 2, the six golden coins for Game Boy. A great Mario game, by the way.
it's very good.
No, it
Like
is a very good one.
even with that kind of green and gray look, like very
Hmm.
detailed pixel art.
Yeah, I never had this one. I did play it. I think I
It's
rented it
good.
or something. But like, yeah, the first Mario Land game, I played that a ton.
Yep. I spent a lot of time on that Game Boy playing that one right there. All right, do one or two more and then get out of here. Is there any that are jumping out at you as I'm scrolling through this list real quick? Super Scope. That's a good one. Oh
Oh,
my
do
gosh.
the Super Scope commercial. Like I remember that commercial.
Yeah,
Well, I never had a Super Scope, but like one of my best
He
friends
was
did, and
my
like
buddy
yeah,
had one as well. Yeah,
we played the crap out of that. There was some fun games for it. I remember this commercial so much though. I always wanted one.
Nintendo's
That game
never been
was
afraid of
horrible.
trying, like, let's find a new interface for you to play our games, you know?
peripherals. Yeah, I'm here. I like
Yep.
that. I like that they're always
Hey,
like
they
thinking
started that
outside.
with the NES. They had the light gun, then they had the power glove. Like they were always
Remember
looking
Rob the
for new
robot,
ways.
like your
Oh,
robot
so that
companion
Rob the
player?
yeah,
Robot.
that was my first gaming experience at a friend's house. My first game was Gyromite, and I got to control the columns that go up and down by pressing the red and blue buttons on Rob. And
Uh,
that was my first gaming experience. I probably would have been like 4 or something like that, and I got a Nintendo like a year or two later. So,
that's so cool.
God, I loved Rob.
There was the
Rob's
Secret of
awesome.
Mana trailer?
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of
I love
this.
the game though. I had no idea what this game was like when I first rented. I probably rented this game like 5 or 6 times till I actually understood how to play it.
Dude, I loved Secret of Mana. That game was great.
It was a good game.
Is this German?
It kind of sounds
It
like it,
sounds
huh?
like it. Yeah. Did they remake
Huh,
Secret of Mana,
interesting.
or wasn't there like a new Mana game recently?
There's like
They had
Visions
like,
of Mana that just came out. Is
Visions of
that?
Mana. That's what it is.
and I
I
think they
never
did
checked
like a
that out.
remastered version of it at some point. I just don't remember off
Yeah.
the top of my head. Um, Rockman, of course, is Mega Man.
Yeah.
Aladdin. Oh gosh. So
God, Aladdin. Screw that game.
many.
I like the Sega version better than the Nintendo
Okay, we got to see
version.
Atari Jaguar
There's-
real quick.
yeah.
This is Atari Jaguar.
So like back in the day, you could rent video game systems from like Blockbuster and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Blockbuster,
I
yeah.
rented a Jaguar and like
It's
I never
garbage.
wanted to return it quicker. Like there was nothing good to play in. Like oh, it was
But
yeah, the
do you
worst
remember it
weekend.
was all about the bits? So like it was
Yes.
16-bit, 32-bit, and even the commercial right here, she's highlighting the number of bits.
What was it? A 32 or 64 or 32-bit, wasn't it? Or
64.
64? Okay, yeah, it was
Jaguar
the first
64-bit.
64.
Wow.
Yeah, I had what was that thing that went on top of the Sega Genesis? 32X. Is that right? Yeah,
I know
that
what
was
you're
my
That
talking
first.
sounds
about.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I remember. Yeah, it was all about the bits.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Gosh.
supposedly super powerful, but like all the games that I could rent on it completely sucked, and it was no fun. And the
Yeah.
controller on it was really weird. It had like a keypad or something on it. I remember like all the there was like 0 through 9 or something on it.
Earthworm Jim. This is the kind of stuff they would show Saturday morning cartoons.
Yes,
Earthworm Jim. I remember this commercial.
me too.
I did
I
too.
love Earthworm Jim. God, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of my favorite games growing up.
yeah. Sega had all the fun, weird, edgy stuff. Booger Man,
Yeah,
Earthworm
it was very
Jim,
like
like
Ren and
Comic
Stimpy.
Zone.
Very
Yeah,
very
Well, I
funny.
know this one
Yeah,
came to Super Nintendo too. That's where we had it.
did it? I remember playing
Yeah.
on Sega.
I
Yeah.
played on Sega as well, but yeah, I think it did come out to everything.
Yeah. So many commercials on this playlist. Anyway, so yeah, if you guys are interested in going down your own walk down memory lane, just look up 90s video game commercials YouTube
I like
playlist
that people do
by
this. What a time
Michael
capsule.
G. Yeah,
Yeah, no
so
kidding. That's
cool.
fun.
Yeah. Oof. I love walking down memory lane every once in a while, just kind of revisiting, especially the stuff that like I'm pretty sure not maybe not all those that we watched just now, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these I saw whether it was a Saturday morning or like random afternoon or maybe during like one of those lazy Sundays when there's like a
Yeah.
matinee movie on and just like random commercials kick in. But
Right. I don't know. I remember like the Disney afternoon, like after schools, like,
uh-huh.
you'd see a ton of
Yep.
commercials on that crap.
Yep. And it worked, man. I was like, "Could you guys buy me this game?"
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
Yeah,
of course in my mind they always looked amazing. It's not until like later in life I would revisit them to be like, "Oh, I guess that was a little
Ugh.
janky." But
yeah.
yeah, whatever. All right, guys, let's wrap up with anything else that we're playing. I'm curious too, Dan, if there's stuff that you've been gaming on so far in this early 2025 year. We're not quite at the end of the first quarter. Any games that you've been playing this year?
Oh, I'm a little behind on some stuff. Still playing a little Dragon Age Veilguard. Really digging
Mm,
that game.
Yeah,
I
that one
know
is
that was
really
from last year or whatever, but I've been chipping away. It's a game I can kind of hop in and play a couple hours here and there. It's pretty easy to fall in with what I've been doing, and it's an easy game to follow. So
And it's
kind
on
of
PlayStation
had
Plus
that.
this month too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty
Mm,
incredible. I mean, and for not being out that long and being one of their free monthly games, it's pretty cool.
yep.
I've been playing on PC, but yeah,
Mm,
a little bit of that here and there, and then I picked up Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So
Nice.
started
nice.
that game. I'm not nearly, yeah, I got a long ways to go in that game. I really dig it and everything it's doing. I just kind of want to commit to it a little bit more when I play it. So
Yep.
it's been a little bit on the back burner, but I did pick it up right at launch, and I probably put about I don't know, about 10ish hours or so in it so far, and keep hopping in and out of it. It's honestly just a good medieval simulator is kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been fun, but primarily just playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So finally getting around to playing that, and
Cool.
I got it on PC. I got it when it originally launched on PS5, and maybe put like 17 hours in something like that. It just
Okay.
fell off with like other stuff to play, and it didn't run the greatest, and I was a little annoyed
Mm,
with it. So when it came out on PC, they had it like 30% off or something like that right at launch. So I figured,
Oh
heck,
wow.
I'll
oh,
just
nice.
double dip on it, and I still have some performance issues here and there on PC, but it's a lot more stable than it is on PS5, and looks a lot better. Runs at 120 frames most of the time.
Gorgeous game.
Yeah, I'll get a few glitches here and there, but I'm getting a little like deeper in. I probably put in the same amount of hours that I have on PS5, but I'm not as far in the story. I've
Mm,
just done more of the side quests and stuff in the open world. And honestly, I'm a lot happier that I've done that. I feel that just the progression and everything. So I'm liking
Nice.
what's going on with the game. I'm probably going to be more of a completionist with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep digging in on that, but I'm not too far, like 4 or 5 chapters in. So a lot
Yeah.
of game to see there. I think there's like 17 or something like that.
You just
Hmm.
mentioned
And then
some
yeah,
huge games: Dragon Age, Kingdom
Those
Deliverance
are
2, Final Fantasy VII
yeah,
Rebirth.
yep. It's a lot to juggle. So Kingdom
Yeah.
Come Deliverance 2 and Dragon Age are kind of getting shelved. I'm gonna stick with Final Fantasy, but I'm a
Yeah.
big Assassin's Creed guy. That's like one of my favorite franchises, and like
Yeah.
the more modern ones, they just keep getting more and more like Witcher 3 esque, and so
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of everything they've done since Origins. I like the older ones too. I played everything since 3. So
Yep.
I'm happy to, or I'm looking forward to jumping in Shadows. So I got that on the docket. I took Thursday, Friday off next week, so
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
gonna like
nice.
dig in and play some Assassin's Creed, and also keep going on Final Fantasy. But I think everything else is gonna kind of be on hold. But that's kind of all I've been playing right now.
You're gonna be doing some samurai murdering this week.
Oh, so
Uh,
Mhm.
so much samurai murdering. It's gonna be so good.
yeah, I am glad to see that because I was sad at the idea of Ubisoft truly going away, which seemed like a real possibility with how much they've been
Yeah.
struggling. But it does seem like they are starting to find some interest in. And again, I know it's Tencent. That's not a good thing. I'm just saying there are companies like Tencent that are considering essentially keeping Ubisoft as an entity afloat. But I don't know if that
Hmm.
means they're going to buy them or if they're just supporting certain IPs. There seems to be like lots of
Right.
deals in the
Yeah,
works.
and I'm assuming they wanted to get Assassin's Creed out before the end of March because I think that's the close of their fiscal year.
Fiscal. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
makes
yep, so
sense.
they definitely want to get some dollars and cents out of it. But I'm really hoping it's ready at this point. Like all the previews I've been seeing over the last month, like they I'm sure all of it's been on PC, and I got pretty decent PC, so I'm hoping it looks half as good as some of the trailers, but
Yeah.
like everything
Yeah.
they've been showing so far, it looks like there's going to be a ton of stuff to do in the game, and it just looks gorgeous. So I'm really hoping, this does whatever it needs to do because I know Star Wars Outlaws was a bit of a letdown for them, and they
Yeah,
haven't
way
had a lot of
underperformed.
other
Yeah.
things going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And who knows when
I,
there's like a Far Cry or whatever on the horizon? This might be their only chance to like recoup some money for a
right.
True.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they need to get the ship righted a little bit if they're going to keep
Yeah.
pressing forward with anything because they've had a lot of losses and like Skull and Bones. Like how many years did they
Oh,
suck money into that? And I don't think they probably got half of that back out.
I can't
So
imagine they
they,
No.
they
did.
yeah, they need a couple wins or yeah, somebody like Tencent or somebody's going to be scooping them up. I think.
Yeah, I agree. Otherwise, I'll just keep pumping out Just Dance every fall. We at least have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll make them something. They're probably still putting it out on Wii. I don't know.
Probably. Probably still sell copies. Yeah.
Couple.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next Assassin's Creed where they're gonna explore a new area. Like it might be Assassin's Creed set in the Congo, and they're just gonna have a random white guy as the main character, just to make everyone so mad again, just to keep the
Yeah.
anger going.
Ancient Sumeria and like yeah, you're
And then someone's gonna be
Uh,
like, "Look, he
playing as
really
a
the
existed," and
white
it's gonna
guy.
be a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna
playing
be
as
a
a
whole thing. Yeah.
colonizer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
give a crap about
Exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
make a good game. I mean, who
I've
cares?
I've
Holy
seen enough of the
crap.
gameplay and characters now. I'm intrigued, man. I can't wait to play. I can't wait to play
Yeah,
that
and
game.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I feel like the more people who got hands-on time with it, I'm talking industry folks, not like
Yeah.
message board writers or whatever, but like actual people who played the game. The buzz is
Yeah.
very good,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
That's what I've
and
heard.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
good.
optimistic.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I
Me
like
too.
those games.
Listen, I know
Same
that
here.
Valhalla was not everyone's favorite. I still spent
I
probably close to 100 hours in that game and loved
was
it.
gonna
Yeah,
say
I was
you can say it's not
120, 130.
exactly everybody I've talked to, myself included, who I'm like, yeah, it's not my favorite, and then I do an hours check, they're like, I like 80
Uh,
hours. I'm like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm
get we
sorry.
kind
Like
guys, we kind of liked it then.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was Vikings, Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed. Like I
I
don't
liked
know.
Yeah.
it.
I 100% that game. I mean, I didn't play any of the DLC. They had like, like 30 DLC packs, but
Yeah,
I'm not a big DLC guy, so I mean, that's not a
Yeah.
knock against it, but
It
I
can be hard to
100%
jump
that
back
game.
in once you finish it. It can be hard to
Yeah.
jump back in.
I
I will
really
say
think
there's
so.
nothing quite like getting on your boat with your boys and going and raiding a few riverside villages. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
Oh,
just a
right? No
good
kidding.
just a good feeling. Yeah, I love that game. Of course, Odyssey's my favorite. Origins is I got to replay that one. I think that one's right up there because I loved it.
I loved
So I'm right there.
Origins.
I'm
Yeah.
right
I
there
think
with you,
Odyssey is
Dan.
my favorite too. I think
Yeah,
Odyssey.
I don't know. Those ones they
Yeah.
kind of changed Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. I mean, like they're probably my three favorite Assassin's Creed. Which one just depends
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
ask.
Tell you, I did go back replay. I don't think I replayed Odyssey. I think I picked up from my save, but I know I played all the DLC at one point a couple years ago. It's so
Oh,
good. All of it is
I
so
almost
good.
did. Like what is that? Didn't they? What's the
So they
Olympus?
have one that's well, they have one that's set in the world, and it's a whole new story, and it's a love
Yep,
story sort of,
I
and it's
did
really
that one.
compelling and really good.
Yep.
And then they have a series of DLCs that are all in their like mythology worlds. You like go to
Yeah, I
Atlantis,
started
you go
that
to
one.
these
I
other
got about
places.
halfway through it, and like I was very impressed. But I just typically don't play DLC. But
I get it.
Odyssey,
Yeah,
and that was another one. I 100% everything in the main game. But that was one I actually
dude,
was
that's
compelled to
crazy.
play the DLC, and the
A lot
whatever
of
they
game.
did in the mythology, that was so good. Yeah,
So
no, it
good.
was a lot of game. I think I put 160 hours into that game, but
Yeah, you even
it
go to
is probably
Hades.
like my
Like
favorite
Hades
one.
has its own little mini
Yep.
open map that you explore, and it's
That's
like,
cool.
what did they do here? This is insane. So anyway, I love those games. So I'm looking forward to that this week as well. Kyle, what about you? What have you been gaming other than we've talked about Split Fiction a little bit. Anything else you're
Yeah.
playing?
Yeah, I'm still beating the drum on Monster Hunter. I got to the second ending on that. That's like level 40,
Nice.
Hunter rank
Good for
40.
you.
So now I'm in the end
Nice.
game. End game from 40 to
Hmm.
100 is like the
Tell
next
me,
like.
what does the second ending mean? Does that mean you finished it, but then like
So it's
kept
like,
playing?
yeah.
And
So you
okay,
you roll credits at like Hunter rank 8 or something like that. Like the story
okay,
is done then, and then an after story happens from like
okay,
Hunter rank 8 to like 40, and you're just kind of
okay.
grinding, doing optional missions, grinding monsters, yada yada, upping your level bar until you hit like level like 35 or somewhere around there, and then you get like you're getting story missions where it's like, hey, since we've killed that like apex predator, things are changing over the world. Can you go investigate
Got it.
this? So there's still story going on there.
Worlds kind of did
Um,
the same thing where there was a lot more after the credits rolled.
yeah, and that's how
Yeah.
every Monster Hunter is ever. Like the game starts
Okay.
once you
Yeah.
like beat it.
Hmm.
And so now the next part of the grind is Hunter rank 40 to 100, and that's just more. That's mostly just grinding. You're not doing like missions or anything, but I think you get another like story mission that kind of wraps everything up and
Okay.
is the final ending, if you will. I'm
Nice.
really
Sure.
enjoying it. It's fun, man. I have a group of friends I'm playing with. It's great. I love it. I finally have looked up combos and like because I always forget the combos whenever I stop playing
Me
these
too.
games.
I
And
get
now
into
I'm
my
like,
rhythm and I just stick with it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now I'm really
Yeah.
doing some good damage and really understanding
Nice.
mechanics. And I will say about this game is that like there's still a kind of a daunting nature to how much is going on, like mechanic wise and gear wise and
Yeah.
everything like that. And it doesn't maybe it doesn't feel immediately like um easy to get around, but like the stuff that's there is setting you up for like all the way through 200 hours of gameplay, and I just feel like the more that
Yeah.
you understand the mechanics, like the more that you understand everything that's going on, and even stuff with like the map menu, like you can like go through the map menu and filter out certain things or put waypoints on something specific you're looking or grinding for, and it's like stuff the game doesn't really teach you,
That's
but it's all
cool.
there. As long if you're plucking away at it, it's all there, and you're going to stumble into it. That's going to make those like later hours a lot easier in terms of grinding and stuff, and just optimized for a long term experience. This game is,
Sure.
I love
and I'm
that.
really excited. I'm really excited to see what their post launch stuff is. So I'm loving that game right now. That's probably my game of the year right now. If we're talking about like what like
Nice.
stood out, because I put 40 hours in like a week and a half, so it's like it's a lot of gaming.
Wow.
A lot
That
of
is a
gaming
lot of
for one
gaming.
game, yeah.
No
And I
kidding.
also beat the Yakuza title, the new one. I just wrapped that up
Heck
last week.
yeah.
Pirates.
Did it. I pirated my way to back to Japan. So game was
Nice
fun,
job.
super good. I think I ended up like around 30 hours, so I didn't completionist complete it. There's about 45 hours of
Sure.
content in that game. Thought it was excellent. I thought it was so fun. It's just wacky and stupid, and the ending is fun. You get a nice little like stinger at the end where you're like, oh man, what's Yakuza 9 going to be about? Like so there is a
Nice.
cool
All right.
little like head nod of like where we're going and stuff like that. So
Cool.
I'm excited. Yeah, those have been the two things that have been taking up all my time though. Haven't really been playing much else. I'm glad I got uh I'm still gonna be playing Monster Hunter, but kind of more as when my friends are on, I'll play it. It won't be my main course anymore. But like getting Yakuza
Yeah,
off my plate before Assassin's Creed came out was like paramount. I couldn't be
dude,
playing two open
I'm
world.
right there with you.
Yeah, I couldn't be playing two open world
Yep.
games at the same time, you know. So
Yep. Yep. I'm right there with you. Kind of same. That's why I'm glad that over the last couple weeks I have finished Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Did a full replay of that. Um,
Nice.
and so I had gotten to the epilogue and done most of it, and I was just holding off on the final confrontation of the epilogue, which is a really satisfying kind of conclusion to
hmm
that whole arc. But when I first played this game, I did that. I rushed through the epilogue, and I thought it was cool. It was great. Kind of reminded me of the first game. Some cool mirrors of the first game, the way they give you an epilogue there and all that. And then I just kind of moved on to the next thing. Might have been right into God of War that year. I don't know. I just know I moved, or maybe even Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I don't know. 2018 was a crazy year,
crazy year.
so I remember I rushed through Red Dead Redemption 2. So I've appreciated it at a whole new level. Not quite 100%ing to the level that Dan's talking about with those huge Assassin's Creed games. That's nuts. But close, like because a lot of Red Dead does require online to get 100%
Yep.
achievements or whatever. I'm never gonna
Yeah.
do that. The online just doesn't. I
No.
just don't like it as much. But the single player, I've got most of those achievements, not all, but most. I've caught most of the legendary fish. I've done most legendary hunts. I think I still have to get one down in New Austin. There's like a legendary cougar or something way on the west
Okay.
side of the
Yeah, I
original
remember
map that
that one.
opens up.
Yep.
So I hadn't gotten that one yet. Because I want to get all the trinkets just so I have everything. I think it'd be cool to just own all of
Yep.
those things.
Absolutely.
But I will say, I all over again, I wish that it somehow would just be like, do you want to start Red Dead Redemption 1 in the same engine and gameplay features right now? Do you want to just
Yeah.
jump right?
Right.
Like,
That would be amazing.
I want to jump right now. I did replay Red Dead Redemption 1 last year and I loved it. The remastered version's beautiful. It's
Did,
great. It plays
okay, I
great.
haven't played that one.
It's good. Yeah.
It's wonderful, but the second game is just so feature rich, so gorgeous. I love the way. I know some people don't like the way it feels. I love the way it controls and feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
think
think
it's
it's
great.
amazing.
It
It's
took me a while
weighty.
to get into.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
took me a while to like get the feel for it, like when I first played
Mm-hmm.
it. But
Mm-hmm.
once you accept it and just adapt to that play style, like it's so
Mm-hmm.
rewarding. And
There's a lot of
I
like just
actually,
reminding yourself to slow down. Like, don't run through
yeah,
that saloon door.
and,
Don't run up.
no,
Don't run into a horse
and
all
that's
crazy. Yeah.
and that's really what that game is, just slow down and enjoyed it. And that's
Yeah.
why I did every legendary hunt in that game, because
The
I
hunts are
loved
great.
hunting so much in the game. But
Mm-hmm.
it really was like something you had to dedicate. I mean, like I remember some of those take like 30-40 minutes to like complete like one hunt.
Yeah.
You had to be that methodical with it. um Good
Yep.
stuff though. I did start replaying it on PC when I heard that you were
Dude.
replaying it, so like I'm
Yeah.
about a fourth of the way through the game right now.
So there is there's this side mission with that guy, the photographer, the nature photographer guy,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he at one point he wants you something Arcadia, I think is in the name of the mission title. I just know that because I had to hit save and reload probably 8 times to finally get this to work. But he brings these horses. He wants you to bring these horses across in front of his camera to take a picture, and one of them is this silver dappled Missouri Foxtrotter with great stats, but it's also a really cool looking horse, which you can't buy until the epilogue. You can go buy one in Blackwater. So like you don't have to do this to get it, but if you want it with Arthur during the main game, you have to do this thing. So the idea is you have to set things up perfectly or just be really good at tracking so this thing doesn't despawn. Because when the mission's over, they run over the hill and they quickly despawn. But if you activate something in the game system, either visually keep an eye on it and keep it with on your screen, then it won't despawn. It won't despawn if you're looking at it. But that's so hard to do. I tried it like 8 times. I could not get that to work. What you can do though, if you activate the tracking system, anything you're actively tracking won't despawn out of the world. It'll stay in the world
Okay.
and keep moving.
Sure.
So I started tracking this horse that you're not supposed to have. It's supposed to be mission only. And I tracked it. If you're familiar with the map, it's like right near the Emerald Town where the fence guy is, where you can sell stuff like the
Yeah.
carts you're not supposed to you can steal and sell to him. So that's roughly where it is. And I tracked this thing all the way to the northwest corner of the map, up kind of near where there's like a legendary moose hunt up there. Like I'm talking way up in the hills. I just kept tracking and I was going slow. I was like, this thing is eventually going to get stuck on a wall or at the corner of a mountain. I'm going to find it. So I just stayed. You can't let the track run out. See, as it gets down, you have to like reactivate the tracking and keep going. So I finally got to it. You have to hop to it from your horse. That's the only way to do it. You can't. It won't let you lasso it and get on.
Oh,
The game is
really?
not. It's
Okay.
not supposed to be a wild horse for you to catch, but the hop onto the
Okay.
horse feature works. So you hop onto it, tame it, calm it down. Then you just got to ride. It took me forever. I had to ride to, one
A
of the
stable.
stables.
Yeah.
Ride
Stables
to a
with him
stable.
bucking you and everything on the whole way.
No, he calms down. Like he starts to like you after a while, but if you get off of him, you can't get back on. You have to stay on him.
Okay. Oh,
So
sure.
you stay on him all the way to a stable, go in a stable, come back out, save it, reload it, and then he is there, has loaded back in properly as your horse. Then you can
Awesome.
just. So I did that, had him as Arthur, and he was my horse for like, I would say the back half of that game. So all the big intense moments, Arthur getting really sick, like all the stuff that like
Hmm.
is just, it just
Would you
breaks
name
your
him?
heart. Whisper. That's actually the name of our
Whisper.
dog. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I like
So,
it.
so this, so this horse was with me for the back half of the game, and then of course, big story moment in the game. There is no way to pass your horses on into the epilogue. You either have to sell them or they just disappear because of the time that
Yep.
passes. There's just no place that the horses would have lived safely for you to go get them later. So, so that was the horse that I took with me on the final mission, and it hurt much more than the last time I played it. Like
Oh.
I found myself like, dude, this sucks. But that's a testament to the
Uh,
game. Yeah, it's a testament to the
yeah.
game. The game did such a good job with that stuff. So I loved it.
It did.
But two more quick things that I learned transitioning from the main game to the epilogue. One is you can pass along all your money if you let the people at the pig farm rob you and then don't go get it back right before the last mission. And that absolutely works. You just let them. There's a pig farm that you can get
Yep.
drugged and robbed. And I had not done that in the first game. I was like, I'm not going in that creepy house. You kidding me? Like, I don't trust
Yeah,
these
I don't
people.
think I did that.
But you can go in there. You have dinner with them. They're very creepy. It reminds me of like that Cold Mountain movie. Like, very creepy
Yep.
people. They drug you, they rob you, they throw you in a pit with other bodies, but of course you live. And Arthur says, I'm going to go back and have a chat with them. But all you have to do is just not do that. Just get on your horse, go back and do the final missions, finish the game. And then, of course, all the time that's passed later, you can go back. Their house is abandoned, but then, like, behind this painting is a hiding spot with all your cash that's just sitting in there.
Oh,
So you
no
can
shit.
so instead of starting with zero cash and whatever you can
Yep.
scrounge, you can. So I think I had like 8 grand to launch into the epilogue with,
Nice.
which was cool. And then there's an old veteran up in the mountains. One of my favorite set of side quests. If you save his last part of his side quest for the epilogue, do all of them before that. But not only do you get, I think, some really cool new dialogue as they talk about Arthur, basically, which is really
Hmm.
cool at the end. So you get a cool conversation with the veteran to talk about Arthur, but then you do that last mission with him, and at the very end, he gives you his horse, which is this really cool, like very light tan Dutch. I think they're called Dutch warm blood. Is that what they're called? It's a good horse, and it's really strong, and it's pretty decently fast. So that's my main horse now in the epilogue. So like little things
Nice.
like that I tried to plan for this time has just made my playthrough feel so much more immersive and in depth. I've done much more longer like hunting sessions to try to get three
Yep.
star pelts and stuff. Like I really, just like I did with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I just engrossed myself in this old west world and kind of just became a cowboy for a while. And same with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I just became
Yeah.
this medieval time like squire, really trying to work your way up in the
Right.
world. So
And
I
and
love that
that's
stuff, man.
honestly, yeah, that's honestly what Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 reminds me of, is that type of role playing
Yep.
within that
Yeah, it's
world. And
very
I
immersive.
love, yep, I
Yeah.
love Red Dead for it, but I mean, yeah, nobody does it better than Rockstar. And I
Hmm.
was skeptical and I didn't even like Red Dead Redemption 2 at first, but you get in
Yeah.
that game is amazing.
Yep. Yeah, so I wrapped up both of those recently, which feels really good because now I'm going to wrap up Split Fiction, I think, probably tomorrow. We have one more session left to finish that game. And then, like you guys have both said, like Assassin's Creed's right around the corner. I can't wait for that one. I also do have Avowed like installed. I want to try to
Hmm.
give
Yeah,
that
I
game
had a
some
back burner
time.
that game so
So
quick, and I
Oh,
liked it. I liked
yeah.
it quite a bit. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
I tried that, but I was already playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So after I did
No room on
the
the
whole
plates.
prologue or
too
whatever
many
and Avowed,
first-person
and
RPGs.
yeah, yep, I'm just like, I got to come back to you later. It's like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, like, but
I, I,
I
I
really do like.
Obsidian games I want to give my full attention to, and the second I realized that it wasn't getting that, I was like,
I
nothing
gotta
against
Hmm.
wait.
you. I'm gonna
Hmm.
wait though.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I
Yep,
did play
yep.
more
No,
Monster Hunter Wilds. I played a little bit more of
oh,
that. I think I beat 3 more monsters. No, I think 4 more since we last talked. Anyway, so I'm at Hunter rank 4. So I'm a good ways into the kind of the initial storyline there.
Mhm.
Um, really cool armor sets already. Like they right out
So
of the gate
cool.
start giving you some cool armor sets, and they're pretty generous with the loot. So like all it takes is really maybe 2 or 3 hunts of most monsters to get most of what you need to have a decent set. You might be missing like
sure.
the gloves or something, but most of it is there after a couple of hunts, which is nice. It streamlines it a bit for you.
Hmm.
Still just rocking the hammer, man. That's all I care about. Just ride up to the thing on the back of my
I
little
like the hammer.
bird
Yeah,
mount and
there's
then
not.
just
I don't run into enough
hammer
hammer
onto him.
users, so and I get bummed about that. So, but that's a good class, man. Man, they
Dude,
do a
Yeah.
good
yeah.
job.
No,
It's so
I
satisfying.
just yeah, I played like whatever one of the open betas or whatever, and I did like a great sword for half of it, and then a
Great sword's
hammer for
good.
the other half. I like the hammer though. Hammer's good.
What I like about the great sword is you can block. I just like the move set of the
Yep.
hammer a little bit more. It's a little more
Yeah,
like
exactly.
boomy. But
Yep.
I've
Hmm.
seen some great
Yeah.
blocks with that great sword where they're like holding like the monster back, like their
yeah,
teeth
the
are grinding
blocks
up
are
against the
so
Yeah,
sword.
cool.
I've
They're in
seen
like
in some of the
they're in like
commercials.
a
It does look badass.
so cool,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 because
hell yeah.
even like the monsters that can dig under the sand about it, yeah, I have trouble like avoiding their attacks because how slow the hammer swings are. You can't really dodge super well. So I take a lot of
Right.
damage, and there's part of me that wishes, man, I wish I could block with this hammer, but you can't. Can't do it. Anyway, that's everything I think. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Dan, thanks for joining us for this week and
Absolutely.
walking down memory lane with us a bit. But if you guys haven't, make sure you subscribe and like on YouTube, all that stuff. But we just appreciate you hanging out and listening to us nerd out a little bit. Uh, Tune in next time. We'll be here. I think other Dan will be back. We're going to be talking Assassin's Creed, hopefully. We'll see if timing works out with when we have to record with that. But regardless, we'll be playing it. But at this time next week, we'll be playing Assassin's Creed. So really pumped for that. But thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.